I had no idea what was happening back in the capital with those two big-shot families losing their minds over me. And honestly, if I did know, I'd probably just look at them and say, trash, because I was busy, okay? Wang Meng, this absolutely fierce combat instructor who could probably drop-kick a tank, was currently curled up in my arms like a kitten who just discovered chin scratches. My war god blood energy was doing its thing, guiding her internal power to fuse with the Golden Lotus medicine. And then, boom, 7-star Grandmaster. Just like that. And the system? Oh, the system was feasting. Gene development, 5%. Current total, 130%. I looked down at Wang Meng, who was staring up at me with those wild eyes now full of pure worship, and I gotta say, I was feeling pretty good about myself. Not bad, I told her. You academy instructors really do have solid foundations. She buried her face in my chest and mumbled something about being available anytime the Lord wishes, and I just laughed. This was the life. But through the window, I could see Zhao Qing, the last one, pacing outside like a student waiting for her exam slot. Fast forward 1 month. 1 month of nonstop cultivation guidance. And I finally stepped out onto the balcony as that dark gold war god magnetic field I'd been radiating for weeks slowly pulled back like a curtain. Gene development, 150%. 150%. The air around me was literally whimpering just from me standing there. Space itself was like, sir, please, you're too much. And behind me stood my 4 ladies, Ling Aoxue, Han Shuang, Wang Meng, and Zhao Qing, all rocking solid 7-star Grandmaster power, already peaking at the 8-star threshold. After 1 month, with me as their teacher, I'm not bragging. The universe is bragging for me. My lord, everything's packed, Ling Aoxue said, now wearing this elegant white dress and looking at me with that mix of hero worship and wifely devotion that honestly never gets old. Let's roll. We walked out of the VIP building, and boy, the entire academy was lined up on both sides of the tree-lined path. Thousands of instructors and students, standing at attention like I was a deity descending from heaven. All hail War God Chun. All hail the 4 Grandmaster instructors. The shout nearly cracked the sky open, and I could see the looks on their faces. 3 months ago, half these people were whispering behind my ladies' backs. Oh, they sold their souls for power. Oh, the scandal. But now? Now every single gossiper had transformed into a green-eyed monster of pure envy. One male instructor, stuck at 6-star peak for years, was standing there with tears in his eyes, muttering, 1 month. Just 1 month, and they went from 6-star peak to stable 7-star. If War God Chun offered me that deal, I'd get a sex change operation and sprint to his door carrying my own bones as a gift. His buddy next to him was nodding furiously. Reputation? What's reputation worth in this world? Nothing. Strength is everything. Look at Instructor Ling and the others. They're grandmasters and the war god's women. Nobody in the entire southern district would dare raise their voice at them. I pretended not to hear any of this. But inside I was grinning. We boarded a massive armed helicopter and lifted off toward the Southern District Martial Association HQ. This skyscraper in the center of Lingjiang City that today had been locked down like Fort Knox. 10 kilometers of blocked streets, elite enforcement squads, mecha brigades standing ready, all for little old me. When my jet tore through the clouds and slammed down on the landing pad, Chief Secretary Li Heng was already there with dozens of senior officials, standing in the wind like their lives depended on it. Li Heng had bet everything on me back during the Snow Mountain incident. Months of pressure from the Wang and Zhao families in the capital, and this man held the line. Today, he knew he'd won the jackpot. The cabin door opened. I stepped out, and the moment my foot hit the tarmac, my 150% gene-level war god aura exploded outward like a tidal wave across the entire landing pad. This wasn't just pressure. This was absolute life-form domination. Li Heng and everyone else physically staggered. Their shoulders dropped like invisible hands were pushing them toward the ground. The instinct to kneel was written all over their faces. Your subordinate Li Heng, leading all senior officials of the Southern District Martial Association, he bent at the waist so fast I thought he'd snap in half, voice shaking with excitement. Welcome back, Commander Chun. Welcome, Commander Chun. The roar shattered clouds. Literally, I stood there, hands behind my back, scanning the crowd with a small, amused smile. Commander, Li Heng practically teleported to my side, holding out a gold-bordered appointment letter with the most sincere, sycophantic grin I've ever seen. My lord, since you've entered the war god realm, the Southern District's status has undergone a fundamental transformation. By special decree of the Supreme Martial Council, the Southern District is officially establishing a War God Command headquarters, effective immediately, and you are the first ever Supreme Commander. From this day forward, all military, political, and martial affairs in the Southern District are decided by your word alone. So let me get this straight. I went into that academy a war god with 4 girlfriends. I came out a Supreme Commander with 4 pregnant Grandmaster wives and an entire region bowing at my feet. Not a bad month. So there I was. Wait, no. Let me set the scene properly. Night falls. The banquet hall at Southern District HQ is lit up like a palace. Every big shot in the entire region packed into one room. Billionaire tycoons, military generals, people who could buy cities or flatten them. And every single one of them was staring at me like I was the sun and they were sunflowers. I was sitting there in my tailored black suit, casually not even trying to flex my war god aura, and these people were still too scared to breathe loudly. That's the energy we're working with. My 4 ladies were seated beside me. Ling Aoxue, Han Shuang, Wang Ming, Zhao Qing, all radiating 7-star Grandmaster power and glowing with this weird holy light because they're carrying my bloodline. They looked so beautiful it was genuinely terrifying. Congratulations to the Supreme Commander. Blessings to the 4 madams. Thousands of rich and powerful people raising their glasses in unison. For me, I could get used to this. The ceremony wrapped up. I accepted the War God Command seal, basically the ultimate military authority token for the entire Southern District, and the crowd went insane. Standing ovation, fanatical eyes, the whole package. Everything was perfect. The dance was about to start. I was swirling my wine glass like a proper villain protagonist. And then, a Navy communications officer slipped through the side door looking like he'd just seen death itself, crept up behind Li Heng, and whispered something. Li Heng's face went from, happiest day of my life, red to, I just saw my own grave, white in about half a second. He walked over to me, bent down, and whispered with a voice shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. My lord, something terrible has happened. I didn't even look up from my wine. Talk. The south border Great Rift Valley. The metal featherblade swarm has fully erupted. Dormant for 100 years, and they picked today. Tens of millions of them forming a black cloud heading straight for Lingjiang City. Hundreds of mutant bug emperors that ate underground star metal. Over 10 are 9-star level. And possibly, War God tier. Okay, quick explanation for anyone who doesn't know what metal featherblade bugs are. Imagine millions of flying insects whose wings are literally razor-sharp alloy blades. When they swarm together, they become a giant metal tornado that shreds entire cities into dust. Oh, and their magnetic field scrambles missiles, so you can't even nuke them properly. Fun stuff. My 4 wives heard, tens of millions, and War God level, and immediately tensed up. Ling Aoxue grabbed her sword, eyebrow raised, ready to throw down. Sit. Down. They sat. I stood up slowly. The VIPs around the main table didn't know what was happening, but they felt the mood shift. Every conversation died. The entire hall went dead silent like someone hit the mute button on reality. Li Heng, get everyone into bunkers. Tell the media this is a military drill I organized to celebrate my new job. Then I looked toward the southern sky, which was already turning suspiciously dark, and I smiled. How nice. First day on the job, and heaven sends me a welcome gift. Tens of millions of bugs full of star essence metal. That's premium weapon forging material right there. Most people hear, apocalyptic bug swarm heading to destroy the city, and panic. I hear, free crafting resources, delivery included. I turn to my 4 wives. Stay here. Hold the fort. And then I let my war god aura pulse. The reinforced blast-proof floor-to-ceiling windows on the top floor of this skyscraper, we're talking glass thick enough to tank artillery shells, exploded into powder like they were made of sugar. My body turned into a streak of dark gold light, and I punched through the sky so fast I left a sonic boom trail across the entire night horizon. Behind me, the banquet hall descended into beautiful chaos. What happened? Why did the commander leave? The glass, it just disintegrated. IS it and attack. Look at the sky. That light. He's flying. Rich people diving under tables. Generals stumbling to broken windows. Total pandemonium. Li Heng, bless his soul, stepped up like a champion. Silence. He pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses, face completely calm, and unleashed the most audacious lie in Southern District history through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm. This is a combat readiness drill personally organized by Commander Chun to celebrate his inauguration. He believes peacetime has made the Southern District soft, so he's heading to the front lines to demonstrate the power of a Stage 2 war god. Please follow the ushers to the underground strategic bunker where we'll watch a live holographic broadcast of the commander's performance. Every single person in that room was a political shark who'd clawed their way to the top. Not one of them believed this for a second. Their eyes were screaming, "Drill? That man just shattered bomb-proof glass with his aura and flew away like a comet. What drill?" Someone opened their mouth to ask questions. Someone else started reaching for their phone to call their contacts. And that's when Grand Elder Lin Tianhong stood up. Boom. 9-star peak Grandmaster pressure crashed over the room like a tsunami. Not anywhere near MY level, obviously, but for these VIPs, it was like getting throat grabbed by God. No more discussion. Everyone follow orders. Move to the underground bunker immediately. Anyone who disobeys will be treated as wartime insubordination. Every shark in the room instantly became a goldfish. 3 minutes flat. Every single VIP was 100 meters underground in the strategic bunker. Meanwhile, I was streaking across the sky toward millions of metal death bugs, thinking about how many sweet weapons I could forge from their corpses. Best. First day on the job ever. The whole city went into lockdown behind me. Air raid sirens blaring, armored vehicles rolling through streets, martial artists sprinting door to door. But officially, just a drill, folks. Nothing to see here. Get underground or face legal consequences. Millions of people flooding into bunkers while I'm rocketing through the sky at stupid speed toward the source of the problem. And let me tell you, the source was impressive. I'm standing at 10,000 meters altitude, city lights shrinking behind me, and ahead, the entire night sky was gone. Just erased, replaced by this horrible metallic blackness stretching from horizon to horizon. Tens of millions of metal featherblade bugs, moving as one. And the sound, imagine the world's largest cheese grater being dragged across the atmosphere. That's what millions of metal wings vibrating and metal shells grinding together sounds like. The whole sky had become a giant industrial shredder. My war god magnetic field started rippling. Their biomagnetic interference was trying to mess with my aura. Cute. If a 9-star peak grandmaster was standing here, that interference would have reversed their blood flow, and then the bugs would have sliced them into confetti. But for a war god, it tickled. Pathetic. I stopped holding back. 150% gene development, full power. My aura detonated like a dark gold sun right in the middle of that black insect cloud. Magnetic field. Rotate. A visible sphere of dark gold energy exploded outward from my body in every direction, and the hundreds of thousands of bugs rushing at me just popped. Their fancy alloy armor, the stuff they were so proud of, crumpled like tinfoil under 10,000 times gravity compression. Hundreds of thousands of metal bugs crushed into black meteorites, screaming through the air as they plummeted to Earth. I punched a 5-kilometer hole in a swarm that covered the entire sky. 5 kilometers of empty air, where bugs used to be. Did the remaining millions retreat? Did they think, hey, maybe let's not attack the guy who just vaporized 500,000 of us in 1 second? Nope. They got angir, their tiny compound eyes filled with rage and bloodlust, and they formed these massive black metal rivers and charged me from every direction like suicidal missiles. Clang, 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 clang. Tens of thousands of bugs slamming into my magnetic field barrier at once, making sounds like hammers hitting an anvil. And my barrier? Not a single ripple, not a scratch. They hit my domain and instantly got squished into crumpled balls of dead metal, raining down like the world's most disgusting hailstorm. I stepped forward, into the swarm. Because why not? Open. One sweep of my black gold dragon gallbladder spear carved a 100-meter wide highway of death through the bug cloud. I shot straight into the core like a bullet through pudding. And that's when things got interesting. The buzzing got deeper, heavier. The black cloud parted and out came the big boys. Over 100 bug commanders, each one bigger than 10 meters, covered in dark gold star metal armor they'd evolved by eating underground mineral deposits. Every single one radiating 9-star energy. Their giant metal scythe arms were glowing with creepy purple light, meaning they didn't just cut you physically, they hit you with some kind of energy damage too. The regular bugs respectfully cleared a path for these monsters like, "Go ahead, bosses, handle this guy." The biggest one, 9-star peak, let out this ear-splitting shriek. This thing was the king of its territory, and some glowing golden human had just wandered into its living room and started redecorating. It spread its massive metal wings, turned into a dark blur, and launched at me faster than several times the speed of sound. Scythe arms aimed to slice me in half. Several times the speed of sound. To me, it looked like it was crawling through mud. 9-star peak, I smirked. Once upon a time, something like you would have been a real problem. I didn't move my body, didn't use any fancy technique. I just pushed my dragon gallbladder spear forward 1 inch. 1 single inch. 150% gene power. Pure compressed force. No frills. The spear went through its head like the head wasn't even there. That star metal armor it was so proud of? Paper. My war god spear energy detonated inside its body, and boom. That enormous 9-star peak bug commander, a creature that could solo demolish a city, didn't even get to scream. Its entire massive body shattered into a million pieces of flying metal confetti. One thrust, 1 inch. One dead king bug. Tens of millions of bugs watching. The whole southern district watching on holographic livestream from their bunkers. And me, floating in the sky surrounded by an ocean of metal death, holding a spear that just one-shot their strongest champion. I believe the technical term is asserting dominance. The moment their big boss exploded into confetti, the remaining 100-plus 9-star commanders collectively lost their tiny insect minds. They stopped trying to fight me one-on-one, finally showing some intelligence, and spread out in a fan formation. Their massive metal wings started vibrating at this creepy synchronized frequency. The air turned liquid, then it started warping. These bugs were doing a combo attack. Over 100 9-star commanders generating a shared magnetic field, pulling millions of tiny metal particles into the air and turning them into spinning razor blades. A tornado of flying knives shredding at my barrier from every direction. I stood in the center of this metal blender, and honestly, I was mildly impressed. A group technique? Cute. If any normal 9-star grandmaster, even a peak one, even a half-step war god, was standing where I was, they'd be red mist in about 1 second flat. Too bad, I said, tightening my grip on my spear. You bugs are still calibrated for someone at 100% gene development. I'm at 150. Do the math. Kill. One word. That's all I gave them. My magnetic field flipped from expansion to implosion. The entire sky felt like someone scooped a chunk out of it. Their precious combined magnetic field? Imagine a glass dome getting stepped on by a dinosaur. Crack. Gone. Die. I became a dark gold ghost and left 100 spear afterimages in the air. No flashy moves. No spinning techniques. Just my spear appearing inside each commander's chest at speeds their brains couldn't even register. One breath. That's how long it took. I reappeared 100 meters away and slowly lowered my spear. Behind me, over 100 mountain-sized bug commanders were frozen midair like someone hit pause on reality. Then, all at once, every single one of them exploded from the inside out. Dark gold blood and shattered star metal armor rained down like the world's grossest fireworks show. One breath. 100 kills. The remaining tens of millions of regular bugs finally got the message and panicked. The swarm that had been covering the entire sky broke apart and scattered in every direction. Down below, Grand Elder Lin Tianhong was leaning on his sword, jaw somewhere near the ground. He'd brought his squad of grandmasters ready to sacrifice their lives to buy me even a few seconds of time. Self-destruct if necessary. Die with honor. Now he was watching me casually delete a civilization-ending threat like I was swatting flies, and the man looked physically hurt. Support? Help? He shook his head with a bitter laugh. If we went up there, we'd just be in the commander's way. Yeah, he's not wrong. Meanwhile, 100 meters underground at HQ, things were apparently not going great. Li Heng was screaming at technicians trying to get the holographic feed working, but the bug's magnetic interference had scrambled every drone, satellite, and communication protocol in the entire war zone. My four wives were standing on the upper steps, doing their best to look calm, but their knuckles were apparently white from squeezing too hard. Every second of not knowing was torture for them. Then, bzzzt, the screen flickered on. Li Heng lunged forward. And what did they see? No black death cloud. No deafening swarm. No apocalypse. Just clear sky. Clean. Empty. Nothing but fading reddish smoke where tens of millions of metal bugs used to be. And there, in the center of the frame, one dark gold figure slowly descending from 10,000 meters. Me. My black suit didn't even have a new wrinkle. Spear already put away. Walking on air like it was a sidewalk. Looking down at the scorched earth below with the expression of a man who just finished a mildly interesting warm-up. I pressed the communicator on my collar. My voice hit every speaker in every bunker and shelter across the entire southern district. Drill's over. 2 words. That's it. 3 seconds of absolute silence. Then the bunkers erupted. Thousands of VIPs screaming and cheering like their favorite sports team just won the championship. IT was really just a drill. Long live the commander. Long live the Southern District. Only Li Heng and my wives knew what those 2 words actually meant. Li Heng collapsed into his chair like a deflated balloon, face split into the craziest relief grin I've ever seen someone describe. We won. Less than 10 minutes. Tens of millions of bugs. Dust. 10 minutes. I wiped out a 100-year extinction event in 10 minutes, and these people still think it was a training exercise. I love my job, but I didn't fly back to the city. Instead, I hovered over the Great Rift Valley, staring down into the abyss. Because deep, deep below, past the sulfur smoke and the scorched rock, something was pulsing. A faint but extremely strange spatial distortion, beating like a heartbeat. This isn't over. Bugs don't just wake up after 100 years of sleep for no reason. Something down there kicked them out. And whatever it was still alive. No hesitation. My magnetic field compressed tight around my body like armor. Boom. I turned myself into a dark gold drill bit and punched straight down into the bottomless abyss of the Rift Valley. Because of course I did. When you find a mysterious pulsing spatial anomaly at the bottom of a nightmare canyon that just vomited out millions of death bugs, you don't call for backup. You don't run tests. You dive and head first. That's the Chun Yi guarantee. Back at HQ, Li Heng apparently had another heart attack watching my dot on the screen dive straight into the earth. The Rift Valley is over 10,000 meters deep. The bottom is a mantle fissure. The temperature and pressure down there would kill a 9-star Grandmaster. Yeah, good thing I'm not a 9-star Grandmaster. Down I went. And let me tell you, the scenery changed fast. Rock walls glowing red like glass. Rivers of magma crisscrossing underground like the planet's circulatory system. Air pressure so intense it would pancake a steel building. My war god aura blocked all of it like an umbrella in light rain. I punched through a waterfall of boiling lava, because my Tuesday evening needed more drama apparently, and finally reached the bottom. 10,000 meters below the surface. The edge of Earth's mantle. And what I found down there completely rewrote everything humans thought they knew about what's underground. Floating in the center of a churning magma lake was a massive purple-red crystal, hundreds of meters tall. And it wasn't just sitting there, it was beating, like a heart. Every pulse sent out waves of pure energy, so dense they warped the air. But that wasn't the fun part. Underneath the crystal, attached to it by thousands of thin energy tubes like the world's most disgusting drip, was the ugliest thing I have ever seen in my life. A bug mother. Imagine a creature so bloated and pale you could see through its skin. Milky white, semi-transparent, with dark gold mercury blood visibly sloshing around inside. Its enormous belly was rhythmically contracting, and every squeeze squirted out a brand new baby metal bug covered in slime. Just plop. Fresh murder insect. Plop. Another one. Like a biological 3D printer of death. Right as I landed, its belly split open and out crawled a fully armored 10-meter 9-star commander, dripping with goo and screaming. And standing guard around Mama? 8 more 9-star peak commanders, all lined up like the world's most terrifying honor guard, compound eyes locked on me. So that's why the bugs kept coming. I pointed my spear at the whole disgusting scene. You've been sitting down here sucking on this mystery crystal and popping out infinite babies? Russian nesting doll reproduction strategy. I gotta admit, your species plans ahead. The bug mother did not appreciate my commentary. It stopped feeding, turned its shapeless head toward me, and its compound eyes flickered with dark gold energy overload. Then it hit me with its magnetic field. Wham! Raw. Primitive. Like getting punched by a caveman who just discovered magnetism. No finesse, no technique, just pure brute force trying to rewrite gravity itself around me. This thing had crossed into war god territory. A war god level bug mother, powered by a mystery crystal, producing infinite soldiers. At the bottom of an unreachable canyon. You know what? Points for creativity, bug lady. This was actually a solid evil plan. My magnetic field rippled from the impact, and I just laughed. Trying to mess with my field? If I'd just become a war god, maybe your caveman magnetics could have thrown me off. But unfortunately for you, I cranked my 150% gene power from defense to offense, slicing through her crude magnetic pressure like a hot knife through wet paper. I'm stronger. Boom. I vanished from where I was standing. The shockwave from my launch cratered the magma lake below me, pushing the lava down into a massive bowl. SCE, the bug mother shrieked, a sound that went straight through your soul, and all 9 commanders launched at me simultaneously. 9 dark streaks of death from 9 different angles, cutting off every escape route. Cute formation, full of holes. Too slow, my spear became a dark gold blur. I don't think even I could have described what I did next in slow motion. Tap, 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 tap. 9 hits, each one a pinpoint strike to the weakest joint in their star metal armor, loaded with enough magnetic force to shatter a star. Not one of them touched my clothes. 9 mountain-sized commanders dropped out of the air like swatted flies, wailing as they plummeted into the magma lake below. Splash, splash, splash. 100-meter waves of lava swallowed them whole. I didn't even look back. My eyes were locked on Mama, and Mama was shaking. Her magnetic field, the one that was trying to rewrite gravity 5 seconds ago, was now sputtering and flickering like a broken radio. If you translated the signal into human language, it would just be one word repeated over and over: terrified. Her compound eyes were flashing frantically. She was trying to disconnect from the crystal, rip out all those thousands of feeding tubes and run. But that grotesquely swollen belly that had been her baby factory was now her anchor. She could barely waddle in this tight space, let alone escape. I walked toward her, step by step, through the air, my magnetic field pressing the magma flat beneath me like an invisible boot on wet clay. This all-powerful war god-tier bug mother, the thing that had been quietly building an army of millions for who knows how long, was now making sounds that could only be described as whimpering. A giant alien insect god, whimpering at me. Oh, now you're scared. I raised my spear. The tip flickered with dark gold light so intense that space itself started caving in around it. Too late. No mercy. My arm pulled back like a drawn bow, every muscle loaded with 150% gene power, and I turned my black gold spear into a beam of absolute annihilation aimed straight at Bug Mama's face. Boom. She screamed one last desperate scream and blasted out a tidal wave of dark gold slime from every pore in her disgusting body. One final pathetic attempt to survive. Look, I respect the hustle. Sitting underground for a century, drinking crystal juice, building an army, almost destroying a city. But almost is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. My spear went through Bug Mama's eye, out her rear end, and brought a lovely trail of dark gold goo with it. She managed exactly 1/2 scream before I twisted the spear and pumped my full 150% magnetic force straight into her body. Break. She inflated like a balloon at a birthday party from hell, then popped. Dark gold blood mist and shell fragments everywhere. The thing that could have become humanity's worst nightmare died before she even finished evolving. Career cut short. By me. You're welcome, civilization. The second she died, all that crazy magnetic interference just stopped. Like someone unplugged the world's worst speaker system. Now, that purple-red crystal, without Bug Mama sucking on it like a juice box, the pulsing slowed down, but the energy coming off this thing was insane. I'm talking, makes a war god nervous, levels of pure power. So naturally I grabbed it. One wave of my hand. Mental energy out, crystal into my system storage. Easy. And that's when things got weird. Well, weirder. The moment the crystal disappeared, space where it had been started warping. Turns out that crystal wasn't just randomly growing there. It was a plug, a cork, a stopper, blocking a hole that led to somewhere. And the boiling magma, all around, couldn't get near this hole. Some invisible force field was keeping 10,000-degree lava out, like a velvet rope at a nightclub. Sorry, sir, you're not on the list. Interesting. Something's down there. I extended my war god aura to probe the barrier, and the two energies started neutralizing each other, making the shield ripple like water. Then the hole inhaled me. Like, actually sucked me in. A 150% gene development war god, yanked through space like a leaf in a hurricane. Zero I could do about it. Everything spun, then went dark. When I opened my eyes again, the magma world was completely gone. I was floating, no gravity, in this enormous silver-white space made entirely of cold metallic surfaces. Glowing blue geometric shapes drifting around me randomly like the world's most confusing screensaver. I gripped my spear and got ready for literally anything. What I was not ready for was the voice. A massive, ice-cold psychic wave exploded directly inside my brain. Life form detected. Gene map. Human. Life energy level, planetary grade. Meets entry requirements. Welcome to newcomer trial ground number 10086. I'm sorry, what? Newcomer trial ground? I looked around. Who's talking? Where am I? This facility is a backup newcomer trial ground deployed on Baron Star 10086 by the Second Galactic Empire. My brain short-circuited. Due to loss of contact with the mothership exceeding 40,000 standard interstellar years, this trial ground has entered hibernation collection mode. A qualifying human has been detected. Trial program officially activated. 40,000 years. Second Galactic Empire. That phrase doesn't exist in any textbook, legend, myth, or bedtime story on our entire planet. Galaxy, as in our galaxy, spanning billions of stars, ruling countless civilizations, an empire? And it's the second one? Meaning there was a first? My breathing got heavy. I realized I had accidentally stumbled into something that had been erased from time itself. All those beast tides, all those monsters on the surface, even the war god realm that humans think is the peak of power. Compared to whatever this was, we were ants playing in a sandbox. Ancient civilization ruins. I took a deep breath and forced my brain to calm down. So this is a trial ground. Kill stuff. Get rewards? Correct. The cold voice came back, dripping with, I've seen 1 trillion beings and you're nothing special. Energy. After each level, the system will use stored Imperial Dark Energy to enhance the subject's life rank, what you call gene development. First level target, Stage 1 War God Class Beast. Iron Armor Thorn Dragon. A 50-meter dragon covered in alloy scales materialized in the middle of the silver hall. Barbed bone spikes covering its back, each one glowing with nasty light. It roared so loud my eardrums almost filed a complaint. Then it charged. Fast. Really fast for something that big. War God Class Beast. I sidestepped its face-first tackle like a matador, jammed my spear into a gap in its armor, and blasted my magnetic force through the tip. Heart, shattered. Dragon, dead. Dissolved into sparkly light. A fist-sized ball of ultra-pure dark blue energy floated up from the corpse and drilled straight into my chest. Gene development, 1%. Current, 151%. I stared at the notification. 1%? Are you kidding me? My wives give me better returns than this from the comfort of my bed. This is pocket change. This is tip money. This is whatever. Can't leave. Might as well keep going. Level 2. Bring it. Level 2. Stage 1 War God Class Beasts. Void Thunder Butterflies. Quantity, 2. The space shifted, and I was standing on ruins crackling with lightning. 2 butterflies, 100-meter wingspan each, circling overhead. Every wingbeat launching blades made of void lightning that could shred a 9-star Grandmaster. Now that's more like it. This fight actually made me work. These two had killer teamwork, thunder and spatial attacks weaving together, forcing me to go full power. Took me half an hour to spear the last one through the gut. 2 energy orbs, each twice the size of the first, slammed into me. Gene development, 2%. Current, 153%. My eyes lit up. The rewards were doubling with difficulty. So let me get this straight. I killed a 100-year bug apocalypse, dove into the Earth's mantle, exploded a war god-tier bug mother, accidentally unplugged an ancient cork, got sucked into a 40,000-year-old alien trial dungeon built by a galaxy-spanning empire that humanity doesn't even know existed. And now I'm grinding levels for gene upgrades while complaining the loot drops aren't as good as what my pregnant wives give me at home. This is my life. I have no complaints. Level 3. Let's go. Target: War God class beasts, Star Meteor heavy armor bears. Quantity: 3. The door opened and gravity tried to murder me. 3 bears the size of mountains came stomping out, lava dripping off their bodies, each footstep cracking the ground like eggshells. And their combined magnetic field actually pushed back against mine. Now we're talking. My battle junkie brain caught fire. Full power. No holding back. My spear danced. My dark gold dragon phantom clashed against 3 magma mountains for 3 straight hours before I finally punched through the first bear's energy core. Once one dropped, the math changed. Second bear, 1 hour. Third bear, 10 minutes. Funny how that works when you're not getting triple teamed. All 3 exploded, and a massive dark blue energy sun wrapped around my entire body. Gene development, for percent. Current, 157%. For percent, 7% total in just a few hours. My blood crystals were collapsing and rebuilding at insane speed. I could feel myself evolving from a heavy hammer into a razor blade that could cut space. This feeling, this is addictive. I licked my lips. More. I wanted more. System. Skip the commentary. Level 4. Now. Target: Peak Stage 1 War God class beasts, Abyss Blade Mantises. Quantity: 4. Special traits: Shadow Stealth. Magnetic Field Interference. The lights went dark. In a sealed silver room. Shouldn't be possible, but here we are. 4 attacks came from 4 blind spots simultaneously. So fast my eyes couldn't track them. My spiritual sense barely caught blurry afterimages. And their chaotic magnetic fields were eating into my gravity domain, trying to drag my movements into slow-motion quicksand. These sneaky little wanna play dirty. I collapsed my 100-meter magnetic field down to 3 meters around my body. Tight, dense, practically solid. 4 scythe arms, thin as cicada wings, hard as star metal, slammed into my compressed barrier all at once. Sparks everywhere. The recoil forced all 4 mantises out of stealth. Jet black bodies, creepy red eyes, staring at me with pure hatred. Got you. This fight changed me. I stopped relying on raw power and started understanding the logic of life and death combat. Reading patterns. Anticipating moves. Fighting with my brain. 24 hours later. First mantis, head removed. The other 3 panicked and went into overdrive, but I'd already downloaded their playbook. Another full day and night of fighting. When I pinned the last mantis to empty air with my spear, for nearly liquid orbs of dark blue energy slammed into my body like freight trains. Gene development, 8%. Current, 165%. 165. Every bone in my body started popping like popcorn. Every cell was singing. Every drop of blood was having a party. I threw my head back and roared at the ceiling because what else do you do when your entire being is getting rewritten in real time? In less than half a day of trial time, I'd taken a massive leap on the War God scale. My skin had faint dark blue veins running underneath now, and my understanding of magnetic fields was evolving from simple gravity crushing to something higher dimensional. I looked at my hands and grinned like a maniac. Level 5. Bring it. Meanwhile, back on the surface, which I knew absolutely nothing about because I was underground having the time of my life, things were apparently falling apart. Day 3 of me being missing in the Rift Valley. Li Heng's military drill cover story was crumbling like wet cardboard. The thousands of VIPs from my inauguration banquet were not stupid. They talked. They whispered. They called their contacts. I heard Commander Chun didn't go for a drill. He went to fight the bug swarm and disappeared into the bottom of the rift. Impossible. He's a war god. How do you just vanish? My cousin in the garrison says it's chaos down there. Secretary Li hasn't slept in 3 days. The rumors spread through high society like wildfire. Inside HQ, it was even worse. Some diplomat was sweating bullets telling Li Hong, "Sir, the Wang and Zhao families in the capital are pressuring us. Their investigation team is still locked up. The Wang family patriarch is publicly demanding to know why we're holding his 9-star elder. If the commander is really, if something happened, the southern district can't withstand the capital's fury." Someone even suggested, very carefully, maybe releasing Wang Tsang from detention. You know, as a peace offering. Li Heng's response. He slammed his fist on the table, eyes bloodshot and half crazy from 3 days without sleep. Release him? Anyone who opens that cell door, I will personally put a bullet in them. The commander is away, so Grand Elder and Second Elder are supreme authority. The drill is not over. Anyone who moves without authorization is committing treason. Hardcore. Respect. But behind that Iron Man act, Li Heng was terrified. He'd bet everything on me. His career, his life, his entire faction. And for 3 days, the guy who held all those bets together had been radio silent at the bottom of a canyon. Little did he know, I was down there having the absolute time of my life, speedrunning an ancient alien dungeon, complaining that the loot drops were worse than cuddling with my wives. Priorities, people. I have them. They're just different from yours. While I was having the time of my life underground, apparently some old fossil decided to crawl out of his coffin. Zhao Zhangqiang, the Zhao family's ancestor, a war god who's been alive for nearly 200 years. He showed up at the Zhao family compound wearing fancy teal battle armor, looking like a young martial arts teacher but with eyes that said, "I've seen civilizations rise and fall, and I'm bored of both." The Zhao family head, Zhao Tiangang, literally crawled to greet him, told Grandpa everything. Me going from nobody to war god in 6 months, me killing their precious heir and elders, me locking up the Wang family's 9-star elder, and me disappearing into the Rift Valley 3 days ago. And old man Zhao's reaction to hearing about my 6-month war god speedrun? A single raised eyebrow. That's it. 2 centuries of life. And that's all the emotion he could spare. His brilliant plan, fly to the Rift Valley and either confirm I'm dead, in which case he swoops in as savior of the leaderless southern district, takes over everything, and calls it a rescue mission, or find me alive but weakened, then pick up the leftovers. Win-win, he probably thought, feeling very clever about his 200-year-old scheming brain. Cute. But I didn't know any of this because I was busy on level 5 of the galaxy's most insane training dungeon, fighting a giant snake wrapped in dark purple lightning. The Thunder Ancient Python. Not as big as the bears from level 3, but way nastier. This thing could fold space. I went for its weak spot, and the snake literally warped reality where I was standing. The air just crumpled like paper. If I'd been 1 heartbeat slower, I would have been origami. That's more like it. I grinned. Let me back up though, because level 3 and 4 deserve their flowers. Level 3, 3 mountain-sized lava bears. Took me 3 hours for the first one, 1 hour for the second, 10 minutes for the third. Reward, for percent. Total, 157%. Level 4 was where things got nasty. For abyss blade mantises. Peak or god tier. They could turn invisible, and their chaotic magnetic fields were actively eating my gravity domain, trying to drag me into slow-motion quicksand. I had to shrink my magnetic field from 100 meters down to 3 meters, basically wrapping myself in an armor-tight cocoon of compressed force. When all 4 hit my barrier at once, the sparks were legendary. That fight took me 2 full days. But it changed something inside me. I stopped fighting like a brute and started fighting like a genius. Reading the combat. Understanding the logic of life and death. Reward, 8%. Total, 165%. My bones were popping like popcorn. Dark blue veins glowing under my skin. My entire understanding of magnetic fields was evolving beyond simple gravity, crushing into something higher. Something I couldn't even name yet. Addictive. Absolutely addictive. Now back to Grandpa Zhao. He dove into the Rift Valley like he owned the place. War god aura blazing, shoving lava aside like curtains. Very dramatic. Very confident. Then he hit the barrier. 1,000 meters from the bottom, his body just stopped. Like running into an invisible wall. He blasted it with his war god magnetic field. And this is the part that made me cackle when I found out later. his power got swallowed. Like throwing a cup of water into the ocean. Just absorbed. Gone. Then the barrier grabbed him. Same thing that happened to me. The old man got vacuum sucked into the void like a 200-year-old dust bunny. He crash-landed on the silver floor of the trial ground entrance. Not gracefully. Crashed. Face first into that mirror-smooth surface. The cold voice hit him. Life form detected. Gene map. Human. Welcome to newcomer trial ground 10086. And here is where things got interesting. Because unlike me, the guy who'd never heard of any of this, old Zhao actually knew stuff. Nearly 200 years of life. Access to the planet's only 2 known ancient ruins. Top secret records only war gods could read. He knew that our planet's history goes way further back than anyone thinks. That our entire galaxy once had a super civilization spanning billions of light years, the Second Galactic Empire. That our little rock was a mining colony, a prison planet, the bottom of the barrel, the intergalactic equivalent of being sent to your room. The criminals the Empire dumped here, they survived. They reproduced. They became us. Then the Empire collapsed for unknown reasons, and even the people on this planet were nearly wiped out. We, all of humanity on this world, are the descendants of space convicts on a trash planet that a galaxy-spanning empire used as a dumpster. That's our origin story. Not exactly created in God's image, is it? More like forgotten in God's recycling bin. And the trial ground I was currently speedrunning? That was Empire technology, built for a civilization that ruled the stars. Zhao Zhangxiong stared at the silver walls with the expression of a man who just realized the swimming pool he thought was deep actually has an ocean underneath it. Meanwhile, 5 levels ahead of him, I was dodging lightning and space-folding attacks from an ancient snake, laughing my head off, completely unaware that my future murder victim had just entered the tutorial zone. Welcome to the dungeon, Grandpa. I saved you some leftovers. Level 5. The Thunder Ancient Python. This snake was a nightmare, and I mean that as a compliment. Speed. Terrifying. But its real trick? Space folding. Every time my spear was about to hit, reality just bent. My attack would slide off into a pocket dimension like, nope, wrong address, delivery failed. I stabbed at its throat. Space warped. Missed. Tried again. Space crumpled like a paper bag. Missed again. For the first time in a while, I was actually getting educated. Then it clicked. Oh, I see. Third attempt. My spear thrust went straight. Then at the last second twisted like a living snake itself, bending around the folded space at an impossible angle and sinking straight into the python's weak spot. HSSSSSS. The snake went berserk. Purple lightning erupting everywhere, body thrashing like a fire hose, blasting me with everything it had. A few bolts actually got through my defense and scorched my shoulder. Did I care? No, because this fight had just shown me the next level of martial arts. Rules. Not strength, not speed, not technique, rules. The fundamental laws governing reality itself. Space folding wasn't a move, it was a rule. And if I could understand rules. But first, kill snake. Another full day of fighting. The python threw its absolute strongest attack. A purple lightning pillar that could have leveled a city, and I just danced around it, weaving through the gaps like threading a needle at light speed. Not reckless, not greedy, just perfect. This isn't about who's stronger, I muttered. It's about who can outlast 5 minutes of dodging its death throws. Its attacks got weaker. Its body got sluggish. And I was still breathing like I was on a morning jog. Final spear thrust. 7 inches below the head. Done. Gene development. 16%. Current. 181%. 16% from 1 level. The rewards were doubling every time. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. My entire body was glowing gold, dark blue energy flooding every cell. From 150% to 181% in just a few days. Under normal training, this improvement would take decades. Maybe a century. Even with my system, I'd need like 10 more wives too. Actually, let's not finish that math. The point is, this trial ground was absolutely broken and I was here for it. Now, while I was busy ascending to godhood, let me tell you what Grandpa Zhao was doing. He entered the trial ground. Same welcome message. Same silver space. Same cold robot voice. And the great 200-year-old war god, master strategist, the Zhao family's ultimate weapon. Got kicked out before finishing level 2. Couldn't even beat the second floor. I soloed 5 floors and was still accelerating. This fossil couldn't clear the tutorial. He stumbled out of the virtual trial with 0 injuries. Because apparently the whole thing was a simulation, nobody actually gets hurt, and stood there looking at his hands like a confused grandfather who just lost at a video game to his grandson. Virtual trial, he mumbled. The shame. Nearly 2 centuries of cultivating supreme power, and he got booted from a dungeon in half a day. If this ever got out, his reputation would be finished. But did old Zhao admit I might be stronger? Nope. Impossible. It must be a trap. Chen, you probably set this up to lure me here. 200 years old, and still making excuses. Sir, the dungeon has been here for 40,000 years. I did not build it as bait for your specific visit. Your ego is incredible. He panicked and rocket-launched himself out of the Rift Valley, then hovered above it, scheming. The discovery of an ancient galactic empire ruin. I can take all the credit for this. As for the truth, that can wait. Then he flew off into the night, planning to steal my discovery and report it to the nation as his finding. Classic villain grandpa. Can't beat the dungeon? Steal the homework. Meanwhile, I was standing in the trial ground, bathing in golden light, 181% gene development coursing through my veins, grinning like an absolute lunatic. Next level. Let's go. Level 6. Target. Stage 2 War God Class Beast. Stage 2. I'd been fighting Stage 1 beasts this whole time. Now it was jumping to the next tier. Every cell in my body vibrated with excitement. Somewhere above me, a 200-year-old man was flying away thinking he'd outsmarted me. Somewhere in the city, Li Heng was on day 3 of no sleep, holding my empire together with coffee and death threats. Somewhere in a bunker, my 4 pregnant wives were squeezing their fists white waiting for me to come home. And I was about to fight a Stage 2 war god monster in a 40,000-year-old alien training facility, probably humming to myself. Honestly, at normal training speed, going from 150% to 181% would take decades. With my wife system, I'd need maybe 10 or 8 more wives. Actually, that's not the worst backup plan. But let's focus on the murder dungeon for now. Wait. Stop. Hold on. I was about to start level 6, Stage 2 War God Beasts, when a thought hit me like a truck. How long have I been down here? System. What time is it? Trial duration. 127 hours, 32 minutes, 17 seconds. Over 5 days. My brain instantly flashed to Ling Aoxue, Han Shuang, Wang Meng, Zhao Qing, 4 pregnant wives who've been sitting in a bunker watching my dot disappear off a screen for 5 days. And Su Qingge, Leng Yu, Shinru Shuang, Sun Wanyu back in Linjiang City, probably got the news too. Li Heng hasn't slept in probably a week. Grand Elder Lin is probably aging in real time. And I've been down here gaming. System. If I leave, does my progress reset? No. Progress saved. You may exit and re-enter at any time. Oh, thank God. Save function. Best feature of any ancient alien civilization. Send me out. Whoosh. Silver light. Spinning. Then, the smell of sulfur punching me in the face. Boiling magma everywhere. I was back in the Rift Valley, 10,000 meters underground. Without that purple crystal plugging the hole, this place had gotten even nastier. Lava churning, toxic gas everywhere. Temperature that would melt most humans instantly. For 181% me? Room temperature. I shot upward like a dark gold missile. Back at HQ, apparently things were reaching critical levels of panic. Li Heng, 5 days without real sleep, coffee untouched and stone cold on his desk, was fielding threats from the Zhao and Wang families about impeachment proceedings for illegally imprisoning Wang Tsang. His response? Same as always. Anyone who opens that cell dies by my hand. This man. This beautiful, bloodshot-eyed, caffeine-deprived lunatic. I need to give him a raise. Grand Elder Lin, looking like he'd aged 10 years in 5 days. Let's wait a bit longer. I believe Commander Chen won't go down easily. Then an operator screamed. Massive energy spike from the Rift Valley. Gene development reading. Cannot be calculated. But the signature, it's Commander Chen. He's back. The control room exploded. Li Heng lunged at the screen like a drowning man grabbing a life preserver. Grand Elder Lin's eyes went red with tears, hands shaking on his sword. And my 4 wives, who apparently hadn't slept in 5 days either, stood up with tears sparkling in their eyes. Chinyi, Ling Aoshua whispered, voice so hoarse she barely had one left. They rushed outside to meet me, and Biolem. A dark gold streak fell from 10,000 meters like divine judgment. Right before impact, I stopped, hovering 3 meters above the ground. Magnetic field creating a perfect bubble of still air around me. Black suit? Still perfect. Not a wrinkle. Spear casually pointing at the ground. Hair floating in my own aura. Eyes glowing dark gold with something that looked like trapped galaxies. And the pressure. Everyone could feel it. This wasn't the same Chun Yi who left 5 days ago. Grand Elder Lin could barely stand straight. This, Commander Chin's aura, is even more terrifying than before, he whispered. 3 days ago I could at least see the gap between us. Now, I feel like I'm standing next to a different species. Yeah, that's what going from 150% to 181% does, old man. Then a communications officer ran in looking like he'd seen a ghost. Urgent notice from the National Martial Association. Everyone froze. War god Zhao Zhangxiong has reported the discovery of a suspected ancient human civilization ruin in the southern Great Rift Valley. The National Association has formed an investigation team led by Chief Instructor Jing Zonglong. They will arrive in Lingjiang City in 1 week. The room went nuclear. That old thief took credit for our discovery. Li Heng was literally vibrating with rage. Commander Chen risked his life exploring that ruin, and Zhao Zhangxiong just stole the homework? This is robbery. Second Elder was fuming. Grand Elder looked murderous. Everyone was screaming about injustice. Li Heng spun to face me. Commander, let me send a report right now. Tell Chief Instructor Jing the truth. You found it first. Zhao just wandered in, couldn't even clear floor 2, and ran away to snitch. I looked at Li Heng's red-faced, sleep-deprived, absolutely furious expression, and I laughed. Relax. How can I relax? Let him have his credit, I said calmly. All Zhao reported was, hey, I found some old ruins. He has no idea what's actually inside. He couldn't even beat the second floor. I told everyone the truth. The trial ground, the ancient galactic empire, the energy rewards. 5 days, 150% to 181%. The room went dead silent. 181%, Second Elder choked on his own spit. In 5 days? For context, most martial artists spend their entire lives trying to gain a single percentage point. Going from 99% to 100%, 9-star to War God, is a gap that kills the dreams of countless geniuses. I gained 31 points in 5 days. Li Heng's eyes were about to fall out of his skull. Then Second Elder got excited. Does this mean all of us can use the trial ground? I shook my head. Minimum entry requirement, War God level. First opponent, Stage 1 War God Beast, Cold Water. On everyone's hopes. Instantly, Grand Elder's face crumbled, War God level. Besides you, Commander, nobody in the entire Southern District. For now, it's just me. No drama. No false promises. Just truth. I gave Li Heng full authority over Southern District operations while I was gone. He almost saluted hard enough to dislocate his shoulder. Then I looked at my 4 wives. 5 days of no sleep. Red eyes. Pale skin. Exhausted faces. But staring at me with nothing but love and pride. Aoshua. Han Shuang. Wang Meng. Zhao Qing. My voice went softer than I usually let it. Thank you. For everything. Wait for me. Then I launched into the sky like a comet and headed straight back to the Rift Valley. Because here's the thing. Jing Zonglong is coming. The Jing Zonglong. The idol of every martial student in the country, including past me. One of the few Stage 2 war gods in existence. Stage 2 means 200% gene development. I'm at 181%. That's only 19 points away. And I have 1 week. 1 week in a dungeon that doubles its rewards every level. 1 week with a save function. 1 week to close a gap that should take decades. 1 week, I muttered, eyes flashing as the wind screamed past my face. When that investigation team arrives, they can bring their politics, their schemes, their 200-year-old credit-stealing grandpas. Because at the end of the day, whoever has the bigger fist writes the rules. And I'm about to make my fist very, very big. Back at HQ, Grand Elder Lin watched me disappear into the sky and sighed. He's going to break through again, isn't he? Li Heng. Finally, with a spine made of titanium now that I was back, started barking orders. The Zhao family wanted Wang Tsang released. Grand Elder's response: tell them anyone who opens that cell gets charged with wartime treason. Li Heng's back straightened so fast I think I heard it crack from orbit. His boss was home. His courage meter refilled to maximum. Meanwhile, I was flying south when my communicator buzzed. Su Qingge, calling from Linjiang City. Chenyi, where are you? Her voice was shaking. 5 days of rumors had apparently created every possible version of my death. Killed by unknown enemies, city overrun by bugs, deliberately abandoned everyone. Qingge, I'm fine. Fine? Do you know what people are saying? I could hear her trying not to cry. This woman had been worried sick for 5 days while I was underground fighting space dragons and complaining about loot drops. I'll be back in 3 to 5 days. Tell Leng Yu, Ru Shuang, and Wan Yu not to worry. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for a week. Okay, be careful. I am a terrible boyfriend. Multiple terrible boyfriends, technically. I dove back into the Rift Valley, hit the trial ground entrance, and said the magic words. Continue level 6. The space transformed. No more silver room. I was floating in an endless void filled with drifting stars. And rising from the darkness below, a 200-meter centipede. The star-devouring giant centipede. Dark gold armored plates covered in mysterious, glowing runes. Thousands of crimson eyes. Mandibles that made sounds like metal grinding on metal. Stage 2 War God. The strongest thing I'd ever faced. By a lot. Let's dance. I charged in. The centipede charged back. My spear hit its armor, and, clang, the recoil stopped me mid-air. It was like hitting a mountain. Before I could recover, its tail whipped around like a steel cable and slammed into my chest. Blood came out of my mouth. I flew backward like a broken kite and crashed into the void. The gap between Stage 1 and Stage 2 War God? It wasn't a gap. It was a canyon. My techniques, my perfected Azure Dragon Spear, my combat experience. None of it mattered against raw power this far above mine. The centipede fired a dark gold energy beam from its mouth. I couldn't dodge. Took it head on. More blood. A lot more blood. My body cratered into the silver floor. The centipede hovered above me, thousands of eyes glowing with cruel amusement, not even bothering to finish me off. Just enjoying watching me struggle. My bones were cracking. Every breath felt like swallowing knives. Trial subject critically injured. Auto-evacuation initiated, whoosh. Back at the entrance. On one knee. Gasping. Bleeding everywhere. Wounds healing in real time, but my pride? That was going to take longer. I lost. Completely. Utterly. Demolished. For the first time in. I can't even remember how long. I got destroyed. But, while I was lying on that silver floor catching my breath, my brain was working. 0.5-second pause after every tail sweep. Slight delay when turning. Gaps in the head armor plating. This thing wasn't invincible. It was just way stronger than me right now. Again, I went back in. Lost. Again. Lost. Third time. Fourth time. Fifth time. Lost. 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 Every single fight ended with me getting evacuated, covered in blood, gasping on the entrance floor. 4 or 5 straight days I was basically a punching bag for a 200-meter bug. But every single time, I lay on that floor and replayed the fight frame by frame. The 0.5-second window. The turning delay. The armor gaps. Each detail getting sharper, clearer, more certain. Day 6. I stood in the void. Centipede materialized. Thousands of crimson eyes. That mocking hiss. It charged. I didn't dodge. For the first time in 6 days of getting my face rearranged, I ran toward it. Its tail came around. The same move that broke my ribs on day 1. And instead of blocking, I twisted my body and slipped underneath its belly. The centipede realized something was wrong. But its massive body needed time to turn. 0.5 seconds. That was all I needed. Die. Everything I had. Every ounce of 181% gene power. Every drop of perfected Azure Dragon Spear mastery. Condensed into one thrust aimed at the hairline gap in its head armor. My spear slid into that crack like a key into a lock. Through the armor. Through the core. The centipede screamed. Its massive body convulsed. Dark gold blood erupting like a geyser. I didn't let go. I pumped my war god magnetic force through the spear and shredded every nerve inside its body. Break. Boom. 200 meters of armored nightmare exploded. and the energy orb that floated up from the wreckage. It didn't absorb into my body like before. It sank into my mind sea and slowly condensed into an ancient-looking book. Ding. Trial level 6 complete. Due to trial subject not yet reaching stage 2 War God. Reward adjusted to War God Technique Inheritance. Obtained War God Technique. Star Magnetic Scripture. No gene percentage boost this time. Instead, I got something potentially even better. An actual War God combat manual from a galaxy-spanning super-civilization that ruled billions of stars for who knows how long. 6 days of getting my teeth kicked in by a giant centipede. 6 days of bleeding, crawling, analyzing, and going back for more. And the reward wasn't raw power, it was knowledge. The kind of knowledge that could turn my 181% into something that punches way above its weight class. I looked at that ancient scripture floating in my consciousness and smiled through split lips and healing bruises. Worth every single beating. War God Technique. Okay, forget the gene percentage boost. This was better. I closed my eyes, reached into my mind sea, and opened that ancient book. Instantly, thousands of mysterious symbols flooded my brain, each one containing enough power to reshape the world. The Star Magnetic Scripture, this thing's core concept? Directly controlling the power of stars. Not just brute forcing your magnetic field with raw gene development like I'd been doing. No, this was about harmonizing with the cosmos itself, merging your personal magnetic field with the magnetic field of heaven and earth, basically becoming one with the universe. So that's how War God techniques work. I tried running the technique through my body and bonk. Hit an invisible wall after one circulation. My natural talent wasn't high enough. Most people would cry at this point. I have a system. 500 development points sitting in my account from when my 4 wives broke through to 7-star and got pregnant. I'd been saving them like a responsible adult. Time to spend. Star Magnetic Scripture upgraded to beginner level. Gene development, 10%. Current, 191%. Energy flooded my body. Genetic locks cracking open. Cells going absolutely wild with reconstruction. But I wasn't done shopping. Star Magnetic Scripture upgraded to proficient level. Gene development, 20%. Current, 211%. Breakthrough to stage 2 War God. The sky changed colors. My dark gold aura underwent a fundamental transformation. Now it had tiny stars flickering inside it, like an entire galaxy was reflected on my skin. Stage 2 War God. 211% gene development. I threw my head back and laughed so hard it cracked the trial ground ceiling. Ha ha! I blasted out of the Rift Valley like a golden rocket, burst through the clouds, and hovered over the southern district feeling like I could sneeze a city into oblivion. My sensing range now covered the entire Rift Valley and Lingjiang City dozens of kilometers away. I could feel every heartbeat in the region, like I'd become the landlord of this entire chunk of the planet. When I appeared over HQ, the whole city basically short-circuited. That's Commander Chun, that aura. That's not stage 1 anymore. Stage 2 War God. Grand Elder Lin nearly fell over. Li Heng's eyes looked like they were about to physically leave his skull. Welcome back, Commander Chun. Everyone bowing, shouting, probably internally questioning whether I was still human. I landed. Same black suit. Still perfect. Not a wrinkle. But the energy around me now had literal stars dancing in it. How long until the National Investigation Team arrives? Li Heng snapped to attention. 2 days, Commander. Chief Instructor Jing Zonglong leading personally, with Zhao Sangqiong and 3 other War God-level fighters. For War Gods total, I smiled. Jing Zonglong was a Stage 2 War God, the idol of every martial student in the country, including younger me. And now, I was 211%. Above Stage 2 threshold. Cute. Then Li Heng leaned in with some bonus news. Commander, there's a 9-star female grandmaster named Su Qingyao who traveled here specifically to seek your guidance on cultivation. She's one of the Southern District's top female warriors, incredibly young for 9-star, just one step from War God. My ears perked up. A talented 9-star female cultivator wanting my guidance. I've got 2 days free. Set up a meeting. Yes, sir. But first, my 3 wives who hadn't slept in a week. I wrapped Ling Aoxue, Han Shuang, and Wang Ming in my magnetic field and basically FedExed them through the sky back to my private villa in about 3 seconds flat. Ling Aoshua crashed into my arms the moment we landed, crying into my chest. You're finally back. We were worried sick. Han Shuang and Wang Ming latched onto my arms from both sides like they were afraid I'd evaporate. You were gone so long. You don't know how scared we were. I hugged all three of them, kissed their foreheads, told them everything was fine. And then I said the words every protagonist says before making a terrible romantic decision. I have something to take care of. Wait here. I'll be back soon. Their faces fell. Ling Aoshua looked up with those big, watery eyes. You're leaving again? Not leaving. Just business. After I walked out, apparently the three of them had a very mature, very pragmatic conversation that boiled down to, he's definitely going to see another woman. We know. Are we angry? No? Because in the last month, we went from 6-star to 7-star Grandmaster. We're carrying his bloodline, and we're now the most powerful women in the Southern District. So, we're fine with it. We're practical about it. Motherhood. Political power. Cultivation speed that would take normal people decades. All because of one man. Extra wives? That's just the cost of doing business in a world where the strongest fist makes the rules. My women are smart. That's why I picked them. Anyway, I arrived at a fancy standalone building where Li Hong had set things up. He bowed and disappeared like a well-trained butler. I walked in. A faint, delicate fragrance hit my nose. A woman in white training clothes was sitting with her back to me, hair cascading down to her waist like a waterfall, posture like a drawn sword, straight, elegant, dangerous. She stood and turned around. And I'll be honest, I paused for a second. Skin like snow, elegant brows, eyes like autumn pools, clear, bright, impossibly deep. She was a martial artist, but somehow looked more like a scholar beauty hybrid. No roughness, no hardness. Just refined grace with a steel spine hidden underneath. 9-star female Grandmaster. Su Qingyao. One step away from War God. And she wanted me to help her take that step. I'm starting to think the universe has a very specific sense of humor when it comes to my life. Su Qingyao greets Commander Chun. She bowed slightly, voice cool and proper, but I could see her heartbeat spiking through her neck pulse. Standing in front of a Stage 2 War God when you're a 9-star Grandmaster is like being a rabbit who just walked into a lion's den and said, "Hey, teach me to roar. You want a guidance?" I raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? Then I let my aura drop on her. Full Stage 2 War God pressure. No warning. Her face went white. Her body started shaking. Sweat pouring down her forehead like someone turned on a faucet. Her legs were going soft, and her willpower, 3 years of 9-star Grandmaster discipline, crumbled like a sandcastle in a tsunami. I stepped forward. She stepped back. I stepped forward again. She hit the sofa behind her and stumbled. I caught her chin with one hand, tilted her face up. Look, I know how this looks. But in the martial world, you establish hierarchy immediately. Also, I wanted to see what she was made of. Is this your idea of seeking guidance? I asked. I was wrong. She whispered, tears running down her face, voice barely audible. But here's the thing that impressed me. Even while her body was completely surrendered, there was still a spark in her eyes. A flicker of defiance. Commander Chen, please. Conduct yourself appropriately. She said that, to my face, while being held by the chin, while her knees were jelly. I liked her immediately. I let her go, stepped back, and got to business. You've been stuck at 9-star for 3 years. She flinched. Bullseye. Your problem isn't talent. I opened my palm. A golden lotus seed sat there, glowing with soft golden light, so pure it made the entire room's air vibrate. Her eyes went wide. A golden lotus seed, the legendary treasure that helps Grandmasters break through to War God, doesn't exist on the open market. Entire families guard them as their most precious heirloom. And I just pulled one out like pocket change. You've heard the rumors about me, I said casually. Every woman by my side sees their cultivation speed multiply. That's not gossip. That's a fact. She stared at the lotus seed, then at me, then back at the lotus seed. I could literally watch her brain doing the math. 3 years stuck. No breakthrough in sight. Meanwhile, my women were going from 6-star to 7-star in 1 month. Follow me, I said. Golden lotus seed is yours. Techniques, resources, guidance, everything. You just need to do one thing. What thing? Follow me. Long silence. Her eyes flickered with 1,000 calculations. Okay. Her voice was quiet, but her eyes were steel. I'll follow you. Good. I placed the lotus seed in her palm. From today, you're mine. Your cultivation future? I'm covering the bill. And just like that, wife number. Honestly, I'm losing count at this point. Fast forward 2 days. The National Investigation Team arrived. I was standing on the landing pad at HQ, hands behind my back, Li Heng beside me, Grand Elder Lin, and a wall of grandmasters at my back. Even my ladies were there, Ling Aoxue, Han Shuang, Wang Meng, and the freshly recruited Su Qingyao. A silver aircraft tore through the clouds and touched down. Dust everywhere. The hatch opened. First one out, Jing Zonglong. The Jing Zonglong, National Martial Association's #1. Chief Instructor. Stage 2 War God. Living legend. Idol of every martial student in the country, including younger me. Tall. Chiseled face. Iron-blooded aura of a man who's seen 1,000 battlefields. 2 months ago, I would have been starstruck. Today, we're equals. Maybe more than equals. My 211% says hello. Behind him, Zhao Sanqiu, the fossil who stole my homework. He looked at me with zero expression. I looked at him for exactly 1 second, then moved on. He's not worth 2 seconds. But then my eyes landed on the person next to Jing Zonglong. A woman in white robes. Slender as a willow. Face like an ice sculpture. Cold, beautiful, absolutely lethal. Her aura was stronger than Zhao Sanqiu's. A female war god. Interesting. But what was more interesting was the way she was looking at me. Cold. Ice cold. Like I was something she scraped off her shoe. No respect. No curiosity. Just pure, concentrated disgust. Lady, I don't even know you. What did I do? Commander Chun, Jing Zonglong greeted me. Deep voice, firm handshake energy. I've heard great things. Commander Jing, the pleasure is mine. Polite. Professional. 2 Stage 2 war gods sizing each other up like gentlemen. Then the Ice Queen opened her mouth. Commander Chun. Her voice could freeze lava. I'm Lin Ruashi, deputy leader of this investigation team. She stared straight through me like I was made of glass. I hear you've been quite busy lately, surrounding yourself with female warriors, all of whom are mysteriously advancing at incredible speeds. Her voice dripped with sarcasm. Tell me, Commander, what methods exactly did you use to gather so many women around you? The air froze. Not from her aura, from the sheer audacity. Behind me, Grand Elder Lin's eyebrow practically jumped off his face. Li Heng started sweating bullets. Every grandmaster in my entourage went rigid. I could feel their panic radiating like heat from a furnace. Lin Tianhong was thinking, she's a female war god and the deputy leader of a national investigation team, and she just insulted our commander to his face. If Chun Yi snaps, this becomes a war between the Southern District and the entire National Association. Li Heng was thinking, Commander Chin's #1 pet peeve is people questioning his decisions. This woman just did it publicly. With attitude. We are all going to die. The grandmasters were exchanging looks that said, who's writing the obituaries? And me? I was standing there, hands behind my back, looking at this woman who'd just walked off an airplane and decided to pick a fight with a 211% Stage 2 war god in front of his entire command structure. On his turf. On his landing pad. In his city. The nerve. I didn't know who Lin Ruashi was. I didn't know why she hated me. But I knew one thing for absolute certain. This week was about to get very interesting. Li Heng, bless his paranoid, sleep-deprived brain, was already 3 steps ahead of everyone else in figuring out what was really going on. Lin Ruashi wasn't acting alone. She glanced at Jing Zonglong before speaking. He didn't stop her. Didn't even blink. This wasn't one woman's attitude problem. This was a coordinated move. The National Martial Association sent her to test me, to probe my limits, to see if the young hotshot running the Southern District would fold under pressure. The trial ground discovery, my rapid breakthroughs, my growing harem of power-leveling female warriors. They weren't here to investigate ruins. They were here to take what's mine. Lin Ruashi was the knife. Jing Zonglong was the hand. And Zhao Sanqiu? He was the little rat who set the whole thing in motion by running to the government with MY discovery like a toddler tattling to the teacher. Now, at this point, every single person on MY's side was mentally writing their last will and testament. Li Heng was calculating funeral costs. Grand Elder Lin was having heart palpitations. My grandmasters were wondering if I was just standing there, would hold up as a legal defense. They all thought I was about to explode. They were right. But first, Zhao Sanqiong just had to open his mouth. Commander Chun is truly impressive for his age, he said, oozing fake admiration like a leaking sewer pipe. But I'm curious, how did you achieve such incredible breakthroughs so quickly? And also find time to train all these lovely female warriors? He glanced at Su Qingyao, at Ling Aoxue, at my women. Of course, I'm just asking. Big innocent smile. It's simply unbelievable, is all. Translation, he's cheating somehow and probably brainwashing women. Behind me, my 4 women went pale. Not from fear of Zhao, from fear for me. Would their man be crushed by the national government? Would everything fall apart? I watched Zhao Sanqiong finish his little performance. Cute speech. Really well-crafted trap. If I defend myself, I look guilty. If I stay quiet, I look guilty. Lose-lose, right? Wrong. There's a third option that only works if you're strong enough. Intimidation. Zhao Sanqiong. My voice dropped to Arctic temperatures. What are you exactly? He blinked. This, I stepped forward, war god aura erupting, is a conversation between me, as Southern District Commander, and Commander Jing. Another step. Who gave you permission to speak? And then I let my full stage 2 pressure fall on him like a mountain dropped from orbit. His face went from smug to ghost white in about half a second. His legs buckled. His body crumpled. His knees hit the tarmac with a sound that echoed across the entire landing pad. Thud. Zhao Sanqiong, 200-year-old war god, ancestor of a capital family, the man who thought he could outsmart me, kneeling at my feet, in front of everyone. Lin Ruoshi's face changed too. She felt the pressure, stage 2 war god pressure, and realized something horrifying. This wasn't stage 1. She was a stage 1 war god. I was something else entirely. You dare, she started, voice shaking. I represent the National Association. The National Association can slander people. The National Association can publicly smear someone without evidence. I stepped toward her. Pressure doubled. Her war god domain, the invisible field that defines a war god's power, started warping under mine. Cracking. Caving in. PFFT. She coughed up blood. Her domain shattered like a window hit by a cannonball. Internal organs rattled. Her legs almost gave out, but she caught herself, barely standing, forehead dripping with sweat. A stage 1 female war god. Coughing blood. From my aura alone. I didn't even touch her. The landing pad went silent enough to hear a pin drop in the next city over. Grand Elder Lin's jaw was somewhere near his kneecaps. Li Heng's brain had blue-screened and was rebooting. The Grandmasters had collectively stopped breathing. Then Jing Zonglong moved. I didn't see how. One instant he was standing there. Next instant his own stage 2 war god aura slammed into mine like a freight train hitting another freight train. Boom. 2 stage 2 war god domains collided in midair. The ground cracked in every direction. The air screamed. Everyone dove backward to avoid being pulverized by the shockwave. And the result? Dead even. Jing Zonglong, the world's #1, the living legend, the man at the absolute peak, and me. Equal. Matched. Neither budging an inch. I saw something flash across his eyes. Something he probably hadn't felt in decades. Shock. He was the world's strongest. The undisputed champion. And some kid half his age just matched him blow for blow without breaking a sweat. We both stepped back, 10 meters apart, eyes locked. Well, he said, voice carefully controlled. I didn't expect you to have this kind of strength, Commander Jing. I stood there, hands behind my back, stars dancing in my dark gold eyes. Were you planning to intervene? He stared at me. I stared back. He'd gotten his answer. His investigation was actually a power test, and I'd just scored a perfect grade. Commander Chen is right, he said smoothly. They spoke out of line. It was wrong to make accusations without basis. He turned to Lin Ruoshi and Zhao Sanqiong, one barely standing with blood on her chin, one still on his knees. Apologize. Their faces twisted with humiliation. But what choice did they have? Sorry. Lin Ruoshi's voice was barely a whisper. Sorry. Zhao Sanqiong was so beaten down he could barely form the word. I looked at them, and I didn't move, didn't nod, didn't accept, didn't react at all. Behind me, Grand Elder Lin's stomach dropped. Li Heng's eye twitched. They could both read me like a book. He's not satisfied. Jing Zonglong noticed too. His brow furrowed. Commander Chun. They've apologized, I smiled. A smile with absolutely zero warmth. Commander Jing. An apology is a start. But it's not enough. I stepped forward. A war god's honor cannot be insulted. A commander's reputation cannot be trampled. They publicly accused me, questioned my character, and implied I was doing something criminal. In front of my own people, on my own turf, my voice went cold enough to frost the tarmac. And you think sorry covers that? Silence. What does Commander Chen want? Jing Zonglong asked carefully. I smiled wider. Simple. Since these two are so curious about how I operate, they can find out firsthand. I looked at Lin Ruoxi and Zhao Sangxiong with the expression of a man who just won the entire poker tournament. Starting today, both of you will stay in the Southern District. For 1 year. Under MY command. As MY subordinates. You'll watch everything I do with your own eyes. After 1 year, you'll know exactly how I got to where I am. The looks on their faces? Priceless. Lin Ruoxi, the proud female war god, deputy leader of a national investigation team, was being told to serve as my underling. For a year. Zhao Sangxiong, the 200-year-old family patriarch who tried to steal my discovery, was being demoted to my servant. On his own knees. Not imprisoned. Not punished. Not fought. Employed. As my staff. That's not revenge. That's management. Zhao Sangxiong's face was the color of a corpse. His brilliant plan to throw stones at me while I was down had resulted in the stone landing directly on his own face. You're going too far, he started. Too far. I cut him off like a knife through warm butter. When you were publicly slandering me, did you think that was too far? When you were hiding behind the National Association's name to pin accusations on me, was that too far? I looked him dead in the eyes. I'm asking you to be my subordinate for 1 year. And you think that's excessive? What about when you thought I was easy prey? Then Lin Ruoxi decided to make things worse for herself, which I didn't think was possible, but she found a way. I'm a woman. Why should a woman serve under you? This is sexism. This is discrimination. Her voice kept climbing higher and higher. You think all women should revolve around you? I am Lin Ruoxi. I will not be humiliated. Everyone on the landing pad just blinked. Zhao Sangxiong looked confused. That almost sounds reasonable, but why does it feel completely wrong? Grand Elder Lin and Li Heng exchanged looks that screamed. How did we get from ancient ruins investigation to gender politics debate on a landing pad? And Jing Zonglong? He sighed internally. I could practically hear his disappointment from 10 meters away. This woman was making everything worse with every syllable. This is the martial world, lady. The rule is simple. Biggest fist, biggest voice. You walked onto MY turf, insulted me first, and now you're playing the victim card? Not convinced, I said. I let my pressure drop on her again. Heavier this time. Her legs buckled. Her face went white. She couldn't even finish her sentence. Jing Zonglong stepped in. Enough, smart man. He knew if this continued, it wouldn't be Lin Ruoxi losing face. It would be the entire National Association. Commander Chen, they were indeed in the wrong. I personally apologize on their behalf. As for how to settle this, I guarantee you'll be satisfied. Within 3 days, I pulled my pressure back like reeling in a fishing line. 3 days. I'll hold you to that. He ordered Lin Ruoxi and Zhao Sangxiong to stand down. They slinked away like kicked dogs, one bleeding, one still shaky from kneeling. Then Jing Zonglong got to business. Finally, adults talking. Commander Chen, regarding the trial ground. Our information says Zhao Sangxiong discovered it first. I almost laughed. Commander Jing. I entered the trial ground first. Zhao Sangxiong came later. Got eliminated almost immediately because he was too weak, and then ran to you to claim credit for something he couldn't even clear floor 2 of. Jing Zonglong studied me for a moment. Then nodded. Understood. Show me the trial ground. No argument. No pushback. No politics. This man was a professional. He got his answer when our auras clashed. I was his equal. No point in games when the other guy can hit just as hard as you. Down we went. All of us. Into the Rift Valley. 10,000 meters. Mantle's edge. Lin Ruoxi, to her credit and my amusement, was visibly struggling with the pressure and temperature down here. Her war god domain was straining just to keep her alive. Me and Jing Zonglong. Casual Tuesday stroll. We entered the trial ground. Silver space. Floating blue geometric shapes. Ancient galactic atmosphere. The cold mechanical voice activated. New life forms detected. Gene maps. Human. Life energy levels. Planetary peak. Entry requirements met. Welcome to newcomer trial ground 10086. Jing Zonglong's eyes gleamed. So this is the ancient galactic empire's trial ground. He turned to me. You broke through to stage 2 here? Yep. I'd like to try. Be my guest. He vanished into the trial space. Lin Ruashi shot me one last cold look, huffed, and followed. And then there was Zhao Sanqiu, standing there, alone, with me. I could literally see the sweat forming on the back of his neck. His brain was screaming, I am alone with the man I tried to destroy, and there is literally nowhere to run. He made the smart choice, dove into the trial space to escape my presence. I sat down on a rock, closed my eyes, and waited. It took about 5 minutes. A body came tumbling out of the trial space and crashed onto the silver floor. Zhao Sanqiu. Eliminated. Again. Just like last time. He looked up, gasping, and saw me sitting on my rock like a Buddha statue, dark gold aura pulsing gently, completely at peace. Jing Zonglong and Lin Ruashi were still inside. Still fighting. Still progressing. And Zhao Sanqiu? Kicked out first. The weakest of the 3 visiting war gods. The 200-year-old patriarch of a capital family, and he's the one lying on the floor like a failed game show contestant while the other 2 are still playing. The look on his face was the look of a man whose entire self-image just crumbled to dust. And then I opened my eyes. Zhao Sanqiu. My voice cut through the silence like a razor. He flinched so hard I thought he'd hurt his neck. I stared at him. Dark gold eyes. Zero warmth. Zero mercy. Just him and me. In a 40,000-year-old alien space. 10,000 meters underground. No witnesses. No rescue. No national association to hide behind. Just a 200-year-old schemer and the young man he'd severely underestimated. Zhao Sanqiu. War god of the Zhao family. My voice was calm. Flat. Like reading a death sentence off a piece of paper. Do you know your crime? The silence that followed was so thick you could choke on it. And the look in his eyes? The look of a man who just realized that, win-win scenario, he'd been so proud of had exactly one winner. And it wasn't him. Alone at last. Just me and Grandpa Zhao in a 40,000-year-old alien space station, 10,000 meters underground. No witnesses. No national association. No Jing Zonglong to save him. Just a 200-year-old schemer and the guy he really should not have messed with. I looked at him the way you look at a bug on your windshield. You slandered me publicly. You hid behind the National Association's name to attack me. You thought I was a soft target. He couldn't even speak. My pressure had his throat locked shut. All he could do was stare at me with those terrified old man eyes. I stomped my foot. Lightly. Casually. Like tapping a beat. The shockwave sent him flying across the room. Cough, cough, cough. He crashed, tried to get up, but my pressure pinned him to the floor like an invisible mountain sitting on his chest. Couldn't move a finger. I crouched down next to him. Eye to eye. You've lived 200 years. You should know how consequences work. He tried to beg. Couldn't make a sound. Just those big panicked eyeballs. I said you and Lin Ruashi would serve under me for 1 year. That wasn't punishment. That was a gift. I stood up. But you don't seem to appreciate gifts. Right on cue. Lin Ruashi came tumbling out of the trial space. Blood on her lip, face white, looking like she'd been through a washing machine full of war god monsters. She'd been eliminated on floor 2. 3 stage 1 war god beasts, and she couldn't handle them. Me? I cleared 5 floors of escalating nightmares and broke through to stage 2 in there. But sure, tell me again how I got my power through improper methods. Zhao Sanqiu saw her and literally crawled toward her on all 4s, screaming. He's going to kill me. Save me. You're from the National Association. You can't just watch. The disgust on Lin Ruashi's face was beautiful. I could practically read her thoughts. This pathetic worm is the reason I'm in this mess. If he hadn't fed us bad intel and tried to play games, I never would have picked a fight with a stage 2 war god. She turned away from him. Started walking. Fast. Pretending none of this was happening. Planning to just leave. Wait for Jing Zonglong. Act like serve under me for a year. Thing was just trash talk she could ignore. Cute plan. Lin Ruashi, she froze mid-step. Then she walked faster. Boom. Full pressure. No mercy. PFFT. Blood sprayed from her mouth. Her war god domain shattered again. Her legs gave out, and she crashed to her knees. I walked up to her and looked down. Did you forget something? She was trembling. Eyes red. Tears building. The princess of the Lin family, pampered her entire life. Every man she'd ever met treating her like a porcelain goddess. And here she was, kneeling in front of me in an alien dungeon with blood on her chin. You can't, she choked out. I could. I was. And she knew it. From today, you and Zhao Sangqiong are my subordinates. When Jing Zonglong comes out, I'll discuss terms with him. Until then, stay put. You just wait, she was screaming inside. When Jing Zonglong comes out, he'll make you pay for this. Sure, sweetheart. Let's see how that works out. Meanwhile, inside the trial space, the world's #1 was having a bad day. Jing Zonglong, the living legend, the untouchable champion, was getting his teeth kicked in by a Stage 2 war god beast. The thing had spatial rule powers that scrambled his domain sensing. An hour of fighting, and he was losing. Not having a tough time, losing. Actually losing. Getting hit by spatial attacks he couldn't dodge. Running out of stamina while the beast showed zero fatigue. Damn it. I can't win. The world's #1. Can't win. Trial subject critically injured. Auto evacuation, whoosh. Jing Zonglong materialized at the entrance, on one knee, gasping, wounds healing in real time. He looked up and saw Lin Ruoshi and Zhao Sangqiong still kneeling. Me standing there with my hands behind my back like I'd been waiting for room service. Lin Ruoshi's head snapped up, tears streaming. Commander Jing, you're finally out. You have to help me. This Chun Yi. Shut up, I said. She went rigid. Mouth open. No words coming out. I just told her to shut up. I in front of the world's strongest man. Jing Zonglong looked at me. I looked at him. How was the trial? I asked pleasantly. Long pause. Then the world's #1 war god, the man who hadn't lost to anyone in probably decades, let out a bitter laugh. Hard. He stood, looking at me with completely different eyes than when he'd arrived. I couldn't beat it. But you did. His voice carried genuine amazement. And you started from a lower level than me. He paused. What floor did you enter from? Directly, I said. He stared, then laughed bitterly again. Because he understood now. The system had greeted him as a newbie. I was way past that. My progress in this place was leagues beyond anything he could achieve. Commander Chun. About Lin Ruoshi and Zhao Sangqiong. They slandered me publicly, I said, cutting him off before he could negotiate. I already accepted their apology. But punishment is separate from apology. They serve under me. 1 year. In the Southern District, Jing Zonglong frowned. Commander Chun, Commander Jing, I raised my hand. I've given the National Association plenty of face. They publicly humiliated me, and I'm only asking for 1 year of service. That's generous. I paused. Smiled wider. Unless you'd prefer the alternative. What alternative? They stay in the Southern District. Permanently. The silence that followed could have crushed diamonds. Jing Zonglong understood perfectly. This wasn't a request. This was an ultimatum from an equal. Maybe from someone stronger than him. He'd just gotten eliminated from a trial I'd completed. He knew the math. Fight me? Lose. Or at best, mutual destruction. And for what? To protect 2 people who started this mess themselves? He sighed. Fine. We'll do it your way. Commander Jing is a reasonable man. I turned to my 2 newest employees. Lin Ruoshi, the proud female war god who'd walked off that plane planning to put me in my place, was kneeling on alien floor tiles with tears running down her face. Zhao Sangqiong, the 2-century-old mastermind who thought he'd outsmarted everyone, was lying on the ground looking like a man whose soul had left his body and filed for divorce. Starting today, you belong to me. Behave yourselves, and I won't mistreat you. Their eyes were full of humiliation, rage, disbelief. But underneath all of that, fear. Because the world's #1, their ultimate safety net, their biggest gun, their last hope, had just looked at the situation, looked at me, done the math, and folded. When the strongest person alive decides you're not worth fighting for, that's when you know you've picked the wrong enemy. Welcome to the Southern District, employees. Your orientation starts now. Yes, Lin Ruoshi and Zhao Sangqiong whispered it so quietly you'd need a microscope to find the sound waves. Good enough. For now, I turned to Jing Zonglong. Time for the real conversation. What are you planning to do with the trial ground? He asked. Fair question. Here's the thing, I'm not stupid. I could hoard the trial ground and make enemies of literally everyone. Or, the National Association can send war gods to participate in the trials. His eyes widened. But I need your intelligence network. Information sharing. What you know about ancient ruins, the Galactic Empire, all of it. Jing Zonglong nodded slowly. Commander Chun is generous. I shook my head. This world is bigger than any of us realize. The Second Galactic Empire. Ancient human civilization. The trial ground. These are just the tip of the iceberg. 3 days later, the National Martial Association dropped a bombshell announcement that shook the entire martial world. Chen Yi has been appointed as special advisor to the National Martial Association, responsible for trial ground exploration and management. Resources provided by the National Association. Results shared between both parties. Translation. The most powerful martial organization in the country just publicly acknowledged a 20-something-year-old kid as their equal partner. The martial world lost its collective mind. Who is this guy? He's barely in his 20s, and he's a war god. The National Association is partnering with him. What's his background? My name went from, that Southern District guy, to, you better learn this name or you're already behind, standing on the rooftop of HQ, looking out. Over the city lights with my 4 wives behind me, I couldn't help but smile. National Special Advisor. This is just the beginning. Then I turned to the girls. I need something from you 4. They looked up with those big, curious eyes. I'm creating a special advisory secretary office. Your job, manage all the new sisters coming in. Dead silence. Ling Aoshua blinked. Can we handle that? Han Shuang. Are we qualified? I stepped forward, tilted Ling Aoshua's chin up. You've been with me this long. You know how much your cultivation has improved. Don't sell yourselves short. They all went red, then nodded furiously. Your first assignment, settle Lin Ruashi. They exchanged glances. A Stage 1 female war god, former deputy leader of a national investigation team, now assigned to their department? Won't she resist? Ling Aoshua asked carefully. Whether she resists, I said, smiling, is not her decision to make. And resist she did. Almost immediately. The second I left, Lin Ruashi apparently had a complete mental breakdown over the word secretary office, because she figured it out. Secretary office? Secretary office. This was my harem management department. I'd assigned her, a war god, to be processed through my girlfriend intake system run by 4 grandmasters. She snapped. Her war god aura exploded. Blue-green energy crashed down on my 4 wives like a mountain. Kneel. You dare stand before me without kneeling? She was glowing with petty victory. For grandmasters couldn't possibly resist a war god's domain. She couldn't touch me, but she could absolutely bully my women. Boom. Dark gold galaxy pressure fell from the sky like the hammer of God. Her domain? Erased. Crushed like a paper cup under a hydraulic press. PFFD. Blood sprayed from her mouth, her nose, her ERS. She went white as a sheet, eyes bulging in pure disbelief. I walked up behind her. Lin Ruashi, she couldn't move, couldn't speak, could barely breathe. What exactly did you think you were doing? My 4 wives, bless their beautiful, scheming hearts, immediately went into maximum victim mode. Ling Aoshua, trembling lip, eyes watering. My lord, if you'd come 1 second later, we'd all be. Han Shuang, eyes red. She used her domain to crush us, made us kneel. My lord, please protect us. Wang Meng and Zhao Qing said nothing, but their expressions screamed, we are traumatized, innocent flowers. Perfect performance. 10 out of 10. Academy Award nominees, all 4. Lin Ruashi's blood ran cold. She realized what had just happened. She'd walked directly into a trap. She'd given me the perfect excuse to escalate. She attacked my women the moment I left, proving she was a threat, proving she needed to be disciplined. You think being a female war god protects you? My voice could have frozen magma. You think the National Association's name is a shield? You just attacked my women in my home. I'm a war god. You can't. She choked out between bloody coughs. I can. Pressure doubled, tripled. She was practically being crushed into the floor. I gave you a chance with the secretary office. You threw it in my face. Since you don't appreciate opportunities, the dark gold aura tightened around her throat like an invisible hand. Her eyes went wide with pure animal terror. Tears and blood mixing on her cheeks. The woman who'd strutted off that aircraft hours ago with plans to put me in my place was now bleeding on my floor, unable to make a sound, staring at me with the eyes of someone who just realized they are not the main character of this story. Take her away. Her body floated up, wrapped in my magnetic force, and was dragged off like luggage on a conveyor belt. After she was gone, My four wives exhaled simultaneously. Han Shuang patted her chest. That was intense. Wang Ming's eyes drifted to the spot where Lin Ruoxi had been kneeling. It was dark, wet. The great Lin Ruoxi, the proud female war god, the untouchable ice queen, had left a puddle. Nobody said a word about it. Some things are better left unspoken. But the smiles on my wives' faces, those spoke volumes. The judgment room, dim lights. Lin Ruoxi kneeling on the floor, bleeding from 7 orifices, cultivation sealed, looking like the world's most fallen angel. I stood over her, hands behind my back, watching her tremble. Then the door opened, and in walked Sun Wanyu, my sweet, gentle spirit master from way back. Blue dress, elegant as always, looking like she'd wandered out of a painting. She saw Lin Ruoxi on the floor, and her eyes went wide. The mighty female war god, reduced to this. I pulled Wanyu into my arms right there. She blushed so hard I thought she might catch fire. And Lin Ruoxi? She was seething, watching a mere grandmaster being held by the man who'd just broken her. That was salt in a wound the size of a canyon. I could practically hear her internal monologue. This dog couple, he's doing this on purpose. Humiliating me in front of his women. She was right. I absolutely was. But then I said something that changed the temperature of the room from humiliating to Arctic. Wanyu. This Lin Ruoxi. Her hostility toward me is too deep. There's no reconciling. Wanyu looked up at me, confused. We can't keep her. The room went dead silent. Wanyu's eyes went wide. What? What do you mean? I stroked her hair casually, like I was discussing dinner plans. Destroy her cultivation. She's a liability. Wanyu's brain short-circuited. Lin Ruoxi's brain short-circuited. Pretty much every brain in the vicinity just stopped. But here's the thing about Lin Ruoxi. Even kneeling, bleeding, sealed, and terrified, this woman still had audacity left in the tank. She actually smirked at me. You think I believe that? Her voice was hoarse, but dripping with contempt. You wouldn't dare. She straightened up as much as her broken body allowed. Kill me, and you're at war with the National Association and the Lin family. You think you can afford that? My teacher is one of the 3 supreme war gods of the entire nation. A stage 2 war god, just like Jing Zonglong. You touch me, and you're finished. She was playing her trump cards. Teacher, family, national backing, political consequences. She was so confident that I wouldn't cross that line. And honestly, from a purely rational perspective, she had a point. Killing a female war god backed by one of the country's 3 supreme fighters would create enormous problems. But here's what Lin Ruoxi fundamentally misunderstood about me. I don't make threats I won't follow through on. When you looked into my eyes, she saw something there that made her breath catch. Not anger, not cruelty, not madness, just absolute calm. The kind of calm that comes from having already made your decision. Chenyi, she said quietly. I support you. I kissed her forehead. Good girl. Go rest. She left. The door closed. Just me and Lin Ruoxi now. She was still wearing that smirk. Still convinced I was bluffing. Still calculating political angles and family connections and consequences. Still thinking this was a negotiation. You won't do it, she said, voice sharp. You can't. My aura exploded. Her domain shattered. Blood sprayed. She collapsed. And then I moved. She didn't even see it. 1 second I was standing 10 feet away. The next second, my dark gold eyes were the last thing filling her vision. Cold. Indifferent. Looking at an ant. The blade of compressed magnetic force went through her neck so cleanly she didn't feel it at first. Her vision started rotating. Then she saw it. Her own headless body, spraying golden war god blood across the floor. That's me. War gods have souls strong enough to linger briefly after physical death. So Lin Ruoxi's spirit floated there in the air, watching her own corpse crumple, watching her golden blood spread across the tiles. Her ghostly eyes were huge, full of disbelief, full of terror. She still couldn't understand how I dared. She was Lin Ruoxi, National Association war god, student of one of the 3 supreme war gods, the Lin family princess. How could he? My eyes swept up to her floating soul. Same expression, same cold indifference, same look you give a bug on a windshield. She tried to run, tried to scream, tried to beg. My fist, glowing dark gold, slammed into her spirit. 1 punch. Her soul shattered like glass. Every fragment dissolving into nothing. Body and soul. Gone. Completely. Permanently. A generation's female war god. Erased from existence. The room went quiet. I stood there, looking down at the headless corpse, and felt nothing. Shame. Really, my voice was perfectly calm. I actually considered adding you to my collection. A female war god would have been quite the asset. I shook my head slightly. But your hatred ran too deep. Keep you around, and you'd be a ticking bomb. If you can't be tamed, you get put down. Female war god? So what? Anyone who stands against me has exactly one destination. I turned and walked toward the door. Death. Look, I know what you're thinking. Chen Yi, that escalated significantly. And yeah, it did. But let me explain my logic. This woman insulted me publicly, attacked my wives, refused every chance I gave her, called my bluff when I wasn't bluffing, and was backed by people who would always be my enemies regardless. Keeping her alive meant a permanent enemy with war god-level power, deep family connections, and a grudge the size of a continent. Removing her meant one less problem. Cold. Absolutely. Wrong. In the martial world, strength is morality. She came to MY District, attacked MY people, and bet her life that I wouldn't respond. She lost that bet. The house always wins. And in the Southern District, I am the house. Next morning, cup of tea, sunny living room. Very peaceful, except for the guy in the black uniform standing across from me, sent by Jing Zonglong, sweating bullets while trying to sound diplomatic. Commander Chen, Chief Instructor Jing feels that. Regarding the Lin Ruoshi matter, there should be some sort of explanation provided to the National Association. I sipped my tea. Explanation? Sip. She tried to kill me. I killed her first. Sip. That is the explanation. The messenger's face froze like a buffering video. But Commander, tell Jing Zonglong if he has opinions, he can come say them to my face. If he's not coming, stop sending people to waste my morning. The man bowed and left. Very quickly. Almost running, actually. Look, Lin Ruoshi tried to bully my wives, refused every olive branch, and was going to be a permanent enemy no matter what. I made a decision. It's done. If Jing Zonglong wants to fight about it, I'm 211%, and he couldn't even clear the trial ground. The math isn't complicated. But I didn't have time to think about politics because today was about something way more important. Su Qingge was having my baby. I flew to Linjiang City so fast I probably left a permanent scar in the atmosphere. At the villa, the scene was classic dad movie chaos. Shen Rushuang was pacing the living room holding papers she wasn't reading. Lung Yu was leaning against the wall with her arms crossed, face cold as always, but her eyes kept darting upstairs every 2 seconds. And from the master bedroom, Su Qingge's muffled screams. My heart clenched. I took the stairs 3 at a time, burst through the door. Qingge was on the bed, drenched in sweat, the midwife working beside her. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up like someone had turned the sun on. Chenyi, I grabbed her hand. Don't be scared. I'm here. Her eyes went red. She nodded. Then a contraction hit, and she crushed my hand so hard her nails drew blood. Did I flinch? I'm a stage 2 war god with 211% gene development. This woman's fingernails were literally the most painful thing I'd felt all week, and that includes getting tail whipped by a 200-meter centipede. I didn't move, just wiped her forehead with my other hand. Come on. Our kid is almost here. Minutes crawled by. Lung Yu and Shen Rushuang were dying in the hallway. Shen Rushuang couldn't stand still. Lung Yu's fingers were shaking. And this is a woman who doesn't show emotion. Then, wahhhhh, the most beautiful sound in the entire universe. Shen Rushuang collapsed against the wall in relief. Lung Yu's lips twitched into the smallest smile I'd ever seen on her face. I looked at my son, tiny, wrinkly, red, screaming his lungs out. Perfect. And then ding. The system went nuclear in my brain. Congratulations, host. First child born, reward triggered. Reward calculating. Gene development. 100% current gene development. 311% partner cultivation feedback efficiency. Permanently doubled. First child talent. War, God level potential. 100%. 100 points of gene development just from having a kid. Let me put this in perspective. I spent 6 days getting beaten senseless by a giant centipede for a combat manual. I ground through 5 trial levels for 31 points. I used system points worth months of accumulation for another 30. And my son just casually handed me 100. My body erupted. cell splitting, DNA reconstructing. Every particle in my blood evolving at warp speed. Stage 2 ceiling? Smashed. Stage 3 war god. 311% gene development. The power surge was so intense it leaked out of me for about 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. But in those 3 seconds, the midwife froze like someone hit pause on her life. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't move a finger. Lung Yu in the hallway went white as paper, her body switching to fight or flight mode, except the flight part didn't work because her legs were made of lead. Shen Rushuang grabbed her pregnant belly and pressed against the wall. Su Qingge looked at me, and for 1 second thought she was lying next to a god, not a man. Then I pulled it all back. Wrapped everyone in warm energy instead. Apologized without words. But the power. Oh, the power. My divine sense exploded outward. 1 kilometer. 5. 10. The entire city of Linjiang. Every building, every window, every person on every street. An old man lifting his teacup in a cafe. I could see the angle of his wrist. A couple whispering in the park. I could hear every word. 50 kilometers. 70. 100. Everything within a 100-kilometer diameter circle was mapped in my brain in perfect detail. Lung Yu's communicator buzzed. Qin Shan, calling from a military jet over 100 kilometers away. What was that energy spike? I felt it from here. I took the phone from Lung Yu. It's me, old Qin. Had a little breakthrough. A little. He sounded like he was choking. Again, mother and son are safe, by the way. It's a boy. Wonderful. I'm heading your way, about 15 minutes out. I closed my eyes. Extended my senses. Found his jet, silver aircraft, northwest, high altitude, heading toward us. I could see his wrinkled, grinning face through the cockpit glass. From 100 kilometers away. I can see you, I said. Already over Linjiang airspace. Dead silence on the phone. Then, what level are you now, boy? I just laughed. After hanging up, Lung Yu and Shun Rushuang were staring at me with expressions that basically said, this man has become a cheat code with legs, my son. Chen Zhan. Zhan, as in war god. Born with war god level potential built right into his genes. My firstborn came into the world and immediately broke the game for both of us. Best baby ever. Later that evening, Su Qingge was sleeping, the baby was with the nanny, and I was sitting on the couch with Lung Yu on one side and Shen Rushuang on the other. Shen Rushuang patted her belly and gave me a sly look. Commander, sir, having a son sure changed your mood. Can't even hide that grin. I glared at her. She giggled. Lung Yu sat quietly, rubbing her own belly, pretending she wasn't sneaking glances at me every 3 seconds. I walked over to her, pinched her cheek. Miss me? Her face went crimson. She looked away. No, your ears turn red when you lie. Her ears turned redder. She wanted to melt into the floor. Shen Rushuang was laughing so hard she was wheezing, until I picked her up princess style. What are you doing? Cultivation guidance. Her face exploded with color. Both of you. Tonight. Nobody's leaving. 1 night later. Lung Yu, 7-star mid-tier to 7-star peak. 1 step from 8-star. Shun Rushuang, 7-star early to 7-star peak. Skipped 2 sub-levels in 1 night. She stared at her own hands like they belonged to someone else. This is too fast. I leaned against the headboard, grinning. My women don't get to be weaker than anyone else's, she glared. But the happiness on her face could have lit up the entire city. The firstborn bonus doubled my partner feedback efficiency permanently. My women were about to level up at twice the old speed, which was already absurdly fast. I was getting stronger. They were getting stronger. My son was born with war god DNA. The Chen family power plant was officially online. Then my communicator buzzed. Li Heng, sounding like a man who'd just swallowed a live grenade. Commander, the snow mountain, something's happening. Massive energy readings. Something's trying to break out. My eyes narrowed. Snow mountain. The forbidden zone where everything started. Something was waking up in there. I stood up, got dressed. In the living room, Qin Shan was calmly sipping tea like a retired grandpa at a park bench. Snow mountain, he asked. I nodded. I have to go, he smiled. Go on. I'll hold things down here. I looked at him, this old warrior who'd believed in me before anyone else did, and smiled back. Save me some of that tea, Iche? Deal. I walked out into the morning light and launched into the sky. Behind me, a newborn son with war god potential, 8 pregnant or recently leveled up women, a political situation I'd resolved by literally killing the problem, and a 311% gene development body that could sense a man's face from 100 kilometers away. Ahead of me, the Snow Mountain Forbidden Zone, where something ancient and powerful was trying to claw its way out of the earth. Status report, Stage 3 War God. Father of one. Husband of several. National Special Advisor. Southern District Supreme Commander. Mood, fantastic. Let's go see what's knocking. Now, I wasn't there for any of this. But thanks to my 311% divine sense and the intelligence reports that came in later, I can tell you exactly what was happening at Snow Mountain while I was flying toward it. And it was messed up. Deep in the Snow Mountain Forbidden Zone, the place where blizzards cut like knives and regular people freeze into ice sculptures in 10 seconds. Hundreds of black-robed cultists were kneeling in the snow. Above them, a crack in the sky, not a normal crack. A dark purple wound in reality itself, edges twisting and warping, leading to somewhere else. Somewhere dark. Somewhere that felt like staring into the stomach of something that wanted to eat the universe. The Heavenly Gate. And standing underneath, it was the leader of the gate cult, a guy in a dark red robe and a bronze mask. Nobody knew his name. Nobody had seen his face. But everyone knew 2 things about him. He was a war god, and he'd already killed 2 human war gods by corrupting their souls with dark energy. Fun guy at parties, I'm sure. His plan? Feed the gate with blood until it opens wide enough for something big to come through. First sacrifice, his own deputy leader. A man who'd served him faithfully for 20 years. Sealed his cultivation, sealed his ability to even kill himself, then had 2 goons shove him into the crack. The deputy screamed. His skin split open. His blood got sucked into the rift. Then his body exploded into red mist, and the gate drank every drop. The crack trembled, but it wasn't big enough yet. Continue, the cult leader said, like he was ordering appetizers. Dozens more walked forward. 9-star grandmasters. 8-star masters, 7-star peaks, decades of carefully cultivated elite warriors, the cult's entire upper management. They knelt, chanted something ancient. Then each one slapped themselves on the top of the skull. Thud, 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 bodies dropping like dominoes, blood flowing like a river into the hungry purple mouth. The crack tore wider. 1 person wide became 3 zhong wide. And then, RARR. A sound from inside the rift that made every living thing on the mountain want to curl up and die. A beast that had been sleeping for who knows how many thousands of years, finally waking up. A massive hand reached through the crack. Silver-white fur, each hair like a steel needle. Fingers the size of millstones. It grabbed the edge of reality and ripped it wider. The cult leader? He took 1 look and ran. Turned into a streak of blood-red light and bolted down the mountain at maximum war god speed. Because what came through that gate was a nightmare. A silver-white ape, body like a mountain, dense fur covering everything, with a golden V-shaped mark on its chest like some kind of ancient tribal tattoo. Arms thick as pillars, every step cracking glaciers, breathing like thunder. Stage 1 War God Class Divine Beast. The true king of the Snow Mountain Ape tribe. Its eyes were blood red and burning with one thing: murder. It looked at the fleeing cult leader. Then it looked at the kneeling cultists who were too terrified to move. It was hungry. It grabbed a 9-star grandmaster like picking up a grape, popped him in its mouth. Crunch. Blood dripping from its jaw. 1 by 1. Like snacking on popcorn. Decades of cultivation, years of training. Appetizers for a beast that just woke up from an interdimensional nap. When the snacking was done, the ape turned its red eyes toward Linjiang City. Because it remembered. 6 months ago, some human had waltzed into the Snow Mountain Forbidden Zone, slaughtered its descendants, and wiped out thousands of ape warriors. That human was me. The ape started walking. Toward my city. Toward my family. Toward revenge. What it didn't know, because nobody told it, was that the guy who was Stage 1 War God 6 months ago was now Stage 3. And the cult leader? He knew. His spy network had been tracking my growth. He knew I was way stronger now. But he didn't tell the ape. Why would he? Let the divine beast fight me. Let us damage each other. Then swoop in and clean up whoever's left standing. Mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. The ape was the mantis. I was supposed to be the cicada. And Mr. Bronze Mask thought he was the oriole. standing on a mountaintop 100 miles away, watching his puppet beast march toward my city. The cult leader smiled under his mask. Chunyi, just a stage 1 war god. You destroyed 20 years of my work. Today, you pay, stage 1 war god. That's what he thought I was. Stage 1. Oh, buddy. Oh, you poor, bronze-faced, mask-wearing, deputy-sacrificing fool. You have no idea what's walking toward your little ape right now. 311%. Stage 3. And very well rested after a wonderful night of cultivation guidance with 2 beautiful women. I was coming, and I was in a great mood, which, historically speaking, is the worst possible news for whatever's about to fight me. I was flying toward Snow Mountain, hands in my coat pockets, enjoying the view, when I spotted it. A silver-white ape the size of a building, stomping through glaciers, leaving cracked ice behind every footstep. Blood-red eyes, golden V mark on its chest, dried blood from whatever poor souls it had already eaten smeared across its fur. Stage 1 war god divine beast, the king of the Snow Mountain ape tribe, coming to find me. Because apparently 6 months ago I killed its favorite grandchild and a few thousand of its soldiers, and this monkey holds a grudge. So I floated right in its path. Hands in pockets. Casual smile. Just hovering there, waiting. It looked up, saw my face, and I watched recognition hit those red eyes like a freight train. That face. The human who exploded its beloved beast emperor's skull with a spear. The one who nearly punched a hole through the heavenly gate itself. ROARR. No hesitation. No strategy. Pure rage. It launched itself at me like a silver meteor, right fist coated in blinding white energy. Everything it had, compressed into one punch. A stage 1 war god full power strike. Enough to pulverize an entire mountain peak. I didn't move, just smiled. Its fist was about 3 inches from my face when I casually pulled out my spear. One thrust. The thing about being 311% when your opponent is stage 1 is. It's not even a fight. It's a demonstration. My spear tip met its fist, and crack. Its entire right hand shattered, starting from the fingertips. Knuckles popping like bubble wrap. Silver white blood erupting like a geyser. AOWWW. The Divine Beast King. The creature that had just eaten dozens of 9-star grandmasters like trail mix, went tumbling backward across the glacier, plowing a trench 50 meters long. It looked at its mangled, blood-soaked stump of a hand. Then it looked at me, and I watched the exact moment its brain switched from revenge to run. It scrambled up and bolted. Back toward the mountain. Back toward the heavenly gate crack. Back to whatever nightmare dimension it came from. Running. A divine beast king. Running from me. 6 months ago, this thing's children nearly killed me. Today, Daddy took one punch and decided interdimensional exile was better than round 2. But I let it go, because I had spotted something more interesting. 100 miles away, which is nothing when your divine sense covers that distance like reading a newspaper, I noticed a figure hiding behind a rock on a distant peak. Bronze mask, dark red robe, war god aura trying very hard to be invisible. The puppet master, the cult leader who'd sacrificed his own deputy, dozens of his top fighters, and opened the heavenly gate just to unleash that ape on me. And now he was trying to sneak away. I watched him turn and run, blood-red light streaking toward the horizon. He made it about 1 kilometer. Then I appeared in front of him. Just there, floating, spear still out, still dripping with the ape's golden red blood. His eyes shrank to pinpoints. His whole body went rigid. The math was slamming into his brain at 1,000,000 miles per hour. He was fighting the ape miles away. I just started running. He's already here. He's faster than me, while simultaneously fighting a war god beast. What he? Then he noticed something worse. The ape was gone. Already fled back through the gate. Which meant Chun-Yi had one-shot the divine beast, then chosen to chase the cult leader instead of finishing the ape. He let a war god monster escape, just to make sure I couldn't. Surprised to see me? I asked pleasantly. His throat bobbed. Commander Chun, perhaps there's been some misunderstanding. Boom. I dropped my stage 3 aura on him like dumping an ocean on a campfire. His war god domain popped up and immediately shattered like a Christmas ornament under a sledgehammer. Crushed back into his body. He coughed blood, lost the ability to fly, and fell 1,000 meters straight down. Wham! Crater in the snow. Dust cloud. Groaning. A war god, who had personally assassinated 2 human war gods. face planting into a hole from 1,000 meters up because I broke his entire domain with my presence. I floated down, reached into the crater, grabbed him by the back of his neck, and lifted him up like a kitten you found behind a dumpster. The great and terrible cult leader of the Heavenly Gate Church, the shadow who'd terrorized the martial world for decades, was dangling from my hand with his arms and legs hanging limp. And then, I did the most devastating thing I could possibly do. I pulled out my phone, opened the camera. Click, click. 2 photos. The legendary masked cult leader, held up by the scruff like a misbehaving puppy, looking absolutely pathetic. I sent them to the group chat. Li Heng, Commander? Is that the Gate cult leader, Qin Shan? Where did you catch him? Grand Elder Lin confirmed. Gate cult leader, codename, Blood Owl. I grinned at the screen. Didn't even go looking for this guy. Just showed up to deal with a monkey problem and accidentally caught the most wanted terrorist in the region. Bonus loot from an easy fight. Love it when that happens. I tucked my phone away, kept the cult leader dangling from my fist, and flew toward Linjiang City. As for the monkey that ran back through the dimensional crack, it could wait. It wasn't going anywhere. And honestly, after seeing what happened to its fist, I doubted it was in any rush to come back. Meanwhile, somewhere in another dimension, a silver-white ape king was nursing a destroyed hand and having the worst day of its immortal life, wondering how a human it came to murder ended up being 3 entire. Tears above it, and somewhere dangling from my hand, a cult leader who thought he was the clever Oriole behind the mantis was realizing that the cicada had evolved into a dragon while he wasn't looking. Mantis, cicada, Oriole, me? I'm the guy who ate all 3 for breakfast and took a selfie with the evidence. I landed on the base tarmac looking like I'd just come back from buying groceries. Black wind coat. Not a scratch. Not a drop of blood. Not even slightly out of breath. Oh, and I was holding a man by the neck. Grand Elder Lin Tianhong was waiting with Li Heng and the senior elders, and the second they saw what was dangling from my right hand, every jaw on that tarmac simultaneously relocated to the floor. Commander, is that? I tossed the cult leader onto the ground like a bag of laundry. Dusted off my hands. Heavenly Gate, cult leader. Bumped into him on the way. Grabbed him. Bumped into him. Lin Tianhong's I was twitching so hard I thought it might detach. Let me paint the picture of who I'd just casually tossed onto the concrete. This guy, codename, Blood Owl, was a modified Stage 1 war god who had assassinated 2 human war gods over the past decade. Killed them by corrupting their souls with dark energy. No external wounds. Just dead. Both times. The entire nation had been hunting him for 10 years. 3,000 billion bounty on his head. The most wanted man in the country. And I just dropped him on a landing pad like returning an overdue library book. Lin Tianhong crouched down and pulled off the bronze mask. Ordinary face. 40-ish. The kind of guy you'd walk past 1,000 times without noticing. But those eyes were burning with humiliation. It really is him. Lin Tianhong's voice was trembling. Blood Owl. 10 years. 3,000 billion bounty. He looked up at me like I'd just casually cured cancer during a lunch break. And you just caught him, I shrugged. What? Was I supposed to send a formal invitation? The elders crowded around the cult leader like kids at a zoo exhibit. It's really him. Holy crap, Commander, you're insane. One elder actually poked the cult leader's face with his finger. Blood Owl glared murder at him. The elder yanked his hand back. He's alive. He's actually alive. Another elder leaned in for a closer look. 60 years old, and this is my first time seeing what a modified war god looks like up close. Didn't expect him to arrive as Commander Chin's carry-on luggage. They were all laughing. The most terrifying terrorist in the nation was lying on a tarmac, getting poked by curious old men, while his captors stood there looking bored. All right, enough sightseeing, I said. Lock him up. I'll interrogate him when I'm in the mood. They dragged him away. Blood Owl looked back at me one last time. His eyes said, I will make you pay for this. But deeper in those eyes, pure terror. He knew. The 2 war gods he'd assassinated in the past wouldn't have lasted 1 second against me. He wasn't a threat. He was a souvenir. Lin Tianhong sidled up to me quietly. Commander, the divine beast, ran home. Won't be coming back anytime soon. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for an hour. I could see the gears turning in his head. A Stage 1 war god divine beast. Something that would turn him into a smear on the ice. I'd apparently swatted away so casually that chasing the cult leader was more interesting than finishing the fight. He looked at my face, young, relaxed, not a care in the world, and I could practically hear his internal crisis. Is this man even human anymore? Then, because my life apparently runs on a schedule of one dramatic entrance per hour, a silver jet screamed out of the clouds and landed on the tarmac. National Martial Association insignia on the hull. Out walked Jing Zonglong. He scanned the area, found me, and we locked eyes. 3 seconds of staring, and I watched his brow furrow. Because the last time we met, barely 2 weeks ago, he could read my power level. We were equals. Stage 2 versus Stage 2. Now, he was looking at me like staring into a bottomless lake. He couldn't see the bottom anymore. Couldn't measure me. Couldn't tell where my power ended. Because it didn't end where he could reach. I'm 311% now, buddy. You're still at 200-something. The math has changed. He covered his shock with a smile. Commander Chun, we meet again. Commander Jing, you've got fast ears. He glanced at Blood Owl being dragged away. The gate cult leader captured. How could I not come? Then his expression shifted. Got serious. However, about Lin Ruashi. Her family and her teacher are asking questions. I could help mediate with the Lin family elders. Of course, some compensation would be reasonable. A war god's death, perhaps a few thousand billion. I raised my hand. Cut him off mid-sentence. Commander Jing, my voice was flat. No emotion. Like discussing the weather. Whoever wants to come, can come. I'm not compensating anyone. His brow furrowed harder. Commander Chun, the Lin family is. Commander Jing, cut him off again. Second time in 10 seconds. I could see a vein in his temple. I heard the National Association sell Star Crystal Stone. He blinked. Complete topic change. Whiplash. Star Crystal, 1 billion per kilogram, right? I looked at him calmly. I want 3,000 kilograms. For my spear. The tarmac went silent. Jing Zonglong's face did something I'd never seen before. His composure actually cracked for half a second. 3,000 kilograms of star crystal stone. 3,000 billion. The exact same number as the compensation he'd just suggested I pay for Lin Ruashi. This man had just tried to get me to pay 3,000 billion in damages, and I'd responded by asking to spend 3,000 billion at his store. I wasn't paying reparations. I was placing a shopping order. The absolute disrespect of it. The sheer economic flex. You want me to give you 3,000 billion for killing someone? Nah. But I will give you 3,000 billion. For weapon materials. For myself. Jing Zonglong stared at me for a very long time. 3,000 kilograms. I can't approve that alone. I'll need to report to headquarters. I smiled. I'll wait. Then I turned around and walked into the base building. Behind me, Jing Zonglong stood on the tarmac, watching my back, trying to figure out when exactly he'd lost control of every single interaction with me. Answer. The moment I hit stage 3, buddy. Welcome to the New World Order. Chenyi doesn't pay compensation. Chenyi places orders. 1 month later. Life was good. I walked out of my study and found a scene that almost made me forget I was a stage 3 war god who could flatten cities with a sneeze. Long Yu was sitting by the window, sunlight on her face, one hand on her pregnant belly, looking soft. Long Yu, the woman whose default expression is, I will end you. She was sitting there glowing like a painting. Su Chinga was downstairs with baby Chinzhan, my 1-month-old son, already chubby and adorable, grabbing everything in sight with his tiny fists. She brought him over to Lung Yu. Look, Chinzhan's watching you. Lung Yu glanced down. The baby reached for her. And this ice-cold warrior woman, who has literally killed people without blinking, reached out one finger and let my son grab it. He squeezed. Hard. Baby grip of death. And Lung Yu's mouth curved. Just slightly. Barely visible. Like a glacier cracking open to reveal a single flower. Shen Rushuang and Su Chinga both caught it and immediately started teasing. Lung Yu is getting all motherly. I see her rubbing that belly like 10 times a day. Lung Yu's ears went red. Shut up. But she didn't deny it. I leaned against the doorframe and watched the three of them sitting together in the sunlight. No fighting. No cultivation. No world-ending crises. Just pregnant women drinking tea and arguing about whether Lung Yu's baby was a boy or girl. Boy or girl doesn't matter, Lung Yu said firmly. She says that, but she's been touching her belly every 5 minutes, Shen Rushuang whispered. Lung Yu's ears got redder. I sat down beside her and put my hand on her belly. Little one kicking today? Her face flushed. She looked away. Yes. Several times this morning. That's my kid. Restless already. How do you know it's a boy? She glared. Boy or girl, it's mine. That's all that matters. Her ears were now the color of a fire truck. She didn't say anything, but her hand quietly found mine and held on. This right here. This is what I fight for. Then my phone rang. Li Hung, sounding like a man whose blood pressure had just tripled. Commander, the star crystal stone shipment. It's been intercepted. The smile left my face like someone wiped it off with a cloth. Who? Lin Ruashi's teacher, Lei Lai, Stage 2 War God. One of the nation's 3 supreme war gods. He stopped the transport convoy and confiscated all 3,000 kilograms. I didn't respond immediately. Just sat there, tapping my finger on the table. Lei Lai, the man who taught Lin Ruashi everything she knew. A Stage 2 war god who'd been at that level for 50 years, longer than Jing Zhonglo. The kind of old monster who'd once soloed an entire beast nest and killed 10,000 creatures by himself. And now he'd stolen my stuff. He left a message, Li Hung continued. Let's hear it. Li Hung cleared his throat and recited. If you want the star crystal stone, come to 3 Crossings City. 3 Crossings City. His turf. So that's how it was. Lin Ruashi was dead. Her teacher wanted payback. And instead of coming to my door, he'd intercepted my 3,000 billion purchase and was dangling it in front of me like bait. Come take it if you dare. My mouth curved upward. Understood. I hung up. The living room went quiet. Su Qingge was pale, holding Chun Zhan a little tighter. Shen Rushuang's teacup had frozen mid-sip. Lung Yu was still by the window, silent, but her eyes hadn't left me. They'd heard Li Hang's voice through the phone. They knew the name Lei Lai. Everyone in the martial world did. I stood up and smiled casually. No big deal. Someone's holding my delivery hostage. I'm going to go pick it up. Shen Rushuang raised an eyebrow. Since when does picking up a delivery require the commander personally? Everything's fine. Just rest. I'll be back. Their faces said they didn't believe me for a second. I turned and headed for the door. Chen Yi. Lung Yu's voice. Quiet. Behind me. I stopped. She'd stood up from the sofa, belly and all, looking at me with those ice-blue eyes. She didn't ask where I was going. Didn't ask if it was dangerous. She already knew. Come back soon. A pause. She looked down at her belly. Then back at me. The baby's still waiting for you to choose a name. Her voice was barely above a whisper. And for just a second, the Stage 3 war god with 311% gene development and the power to sense a man's face from 100 kilometers away felt his heart do something it wasn't designed to do. I looked at that cold, beautiful, pregnant warrior woman who couldn't say, I love you, if you put a spear to her throat, but who'd just set it in. Every way that mattered. I smiled. Deal. Then I walked out into the morning light to go pick a fight with one of the 3 strongest humans on the planet. Because some guy thought stealing my shopping was a valid revenge strategy. Let me explain the math here, Lei Lai. You're a Stage 2 war god. A legendary one, sure. 50 years at that level. Very impressive resume. I'm 311%. Stage 3. You intercepted my spear materials because I killed your student who attacked me first. And your brilliant plan is to tell me exactly where you are and wait for me to show up? That's not revenge, old man. That's a delivery address. And I'm about to come collect. I arrived at the abandoned industrial zone on the north side of Linjiang City. Rusty steel frames groaning in the wind. Weeds everywhere. Very dramatic villain meeting spot. 7 out of 10 for atmosphere. And there he was. Lei Lai. 50-ish. Built like a mountain. Deep gray martial robes. Standing in the middle of the clearing like he owned the entire zip code. Behind him, about a dozen fighters, lowest being 7-star Grandmaster. And at his feet, piled up like gravel, 3,000 kilograms of MY star crystal stone. 3,000 billion worth of ultra-rare weapon material. Just dumped on the dirt like someone's rock collection. The disrespect. He was staring toward Linjiang City with the look of a man who'd been rehearsing his dramatic confrontation speech for weeks. I landed in front of him. Smiled. You're Lei Lai? Like asking a cashier their name. His brow crumpled. He looked me up and down. I could see his brain buffering. This is the guy? He's a child. You're Chen Yi. The star crystal. You took it? He ignored my question and went straight to his script. My disciple, Lin Ruashi. You killed her? I looked at him. said nothing. My dark gold eyes reflected exactly zero emotion. And I watched something flicker across his face. Confusion. Because he was a stage 2 war god who'd been dominating this world for a century, and he couldn't read me, couldn't sense my depth, couldn't tell where my power ended. He was supposed to be the angry master here to avenge his student. But standing in front of me, he felt like a student himself. That bothered him. A lot. Chinyi, you killed my disciple. You owe me an explanation. Explanation? I raised an eyebrow. She tried to kill me. I killed her. Fair trade. His face cycled through 3 colors in 2 seconds. If you disagree, I continued, voice flat as a table, you can attack right now. Stop wasting my time with speeches. You could practically hear his pride shattering. 100 years of being one of 3 supreme war gods, and some 20-year-old kid just told him to either swing or shut up. He chose swing. Arrogant, he stomped and the ground exploded. In his hand appeared a beautiful silver-white longsword. Narrow blade, starlight flowing along the edge. Made from 1,000 kilograms of star crystal stone. A genuine war god weapon that could cut through basically anything. Let's see what you've got. Both hands on the sword. Full power overhead strike. A wave of silver blade energy screaming down at me like a waterfall of death. Stage 2 war god. Everything he had. One hit that could split a mountain clean in half. I stood still. Didn't move until the last possible millisecond. Then I raised my right hand. My black gold spear appeared from storage. One thrust upward. Clang. Spear tip met sword edge. Sparks flew like fireworks. Shockwave blasted dust in every direction. Blocked. His full power killing strike. Blocked with one casual thrust. His eyes went wide. But then, crack, a hairline fracture appeared on my spear shaft. It spread. Fast. Like ice cracking on a frozen lake. Then, snap. My entire spear shattered into pieces. Leilai's face lit up like Christmas morning. Ha ha ha. Your spear broke. He was giddy. Practically doing a victory dance. My blade is forged from 1,000 kilograms of star crystal. Your scrap metal thinks it can clash with that. He was laughing so hard his shoulders were shaking. Yeah, he was right about one thing. My current spear was a regular black gold weapon. Good enough for stage 1 opponents. But against a star crystal blade wielded by a stage 2 war god, the material couldn't handle the stress. That's literally why I ordered 3,000 kilograms of star crystal stone to upgrade my weapon, which he stole. The weapon broke because of him. The irony was so thick you could spread it on toast. But here's the thing Leilai missed while he was busy laughing. I have the system, and the system has spares. His laughter died in his throat when a second spear materialized in my hand. Identical to the first. Dark gold. Humming with power. WH. No time to think, Grandpa. I thrust. No technique. No fancy moves. Just raw speed and power that a stage 2 war god's brain literally could not process fast enough. The spear tip went through his right forearm like it was made of wet paper. In through the wrist. Out through the elbow. Clean. AAGHH. His star crystal sword. His pride, his 1,000-kilogram masterpiece, clattered to the ground as his fingers stopped working. He stumbled backward, clutching his punctured arm, face white as chalk. Golden red blood dripping between his fingers. One move. The great Leilai, one of the nation's 3 supreme war gods. Century-old legend. The man who soloed 10,000 beasts. Disarmed. Literally. One arm now had a hole in it the size of a spear shaft. He came here thinking he was the angry teacher about to avenge his fallen student in a dramatic showdown. Instead, he was standing in a junkyard with a hole in his arm, watching his sword lie in the dirt, realizing that the arrogant young man he'd come to punish was playing in a weight class he didn't even know existed. And me? I was standing there holding my replacement spear, not even breathing hard, looking at him with the same expression I'd use for a mildly interesting weather report. His disciples behind him? Frozen. Every single one. Not from my pressure, from pure, paralyzing shock. Their invincible master. The unkillable legend. Bleeding on the ground from a wound he never saw coming. And the 3,000 kilograms of star crystal stone was still sitting right there in the dirt. My star crystal stone. That I was absolutely taking home with me. Along with, possibly, his sword. Since he wasn't using it anymore. Finders keepers, old man. Shouldn't have touched my delivery. I picked up Leilai's star crystal sword. Nice blade. 1,000 kilograms of star crystal stone forged into one weapon. Very fancy. Mine now. Then I walked over to my 3,000 kilograms of star crystal stone. You know, the stuff I paid for that this guy stole, waved my hand, and sucked it all into storage. Shopping, retrieved. Then I turned to look at Leilai. He was on his knees, right arm with a spear-sized hole through it, shaking like a leaf in a hurricane, looking up at me with eyes that were trying very hard to look friendly. W8. Commander Chun, let's talk about this. He squeezed out a smile that looked like someone was holding a gun to his face and saying, look happy. I was blind. I didn't know. Take the stones. Take the sword. I admit defeat. He was backing away while talking, making himself as small as possible. A century-old war god trying to look like a harmless puppy. But here's what I saw behind those begging eyes. Calculation. This man wasn't surrendering. He was surviving. His brain was already writing the revenge plan. Let me live today, spend a few years plotting, call in every favor, and come back to destroy this kid when he's not expecting it. I've seen that look before. On every enemy I've ever let walk away. Which is why I stopped letting them walk away. I raised one finger, pointed at his forehead. His eyes went wide. His mouth opened, too late. One finger, one pulse of dark gold energy. His head popped like a watermelon at a baseball game. Red, white, everywhere. The headless body wobbled for a second, still wearing that sycophantic smile on the part of the face that no longer existed, then toppled over. Leilai, one of the nation's 3 supreme war gods. 100 years of fame. Stage 2 peak combat power. Dead. His soul floated out, dense, solid, the kind of powerful spirit only a Stage 2 war god could produce. It looked down at its own headless corpse lying in the dirt. I didn't give it time to process. One wave of pressure. His soul scattered like smoke in a storm. Not a trace left. Body and soul. Gone. Behind him, his dozen-plus Grandmaster bodyguards were standing there like someone had pressed pause on reality. Then one of them dropped to his knees. Please spare us. We were just following orders. Others followed. Kneeling, begging, groveling. One genius tried a different approach. We're from the National Grandmaster Hall. You can't kill us. There would be consequences. Consequences. This man just watched me pop his boss's head with one finger, and he's threatening me with consequences. I pulled out my spear. His face changed real fast. Wait, you can't. One sweep. One arc of dark gold light. 16 heads left 16 bodies simultaneously. Blood fountains. Bodies falling like dominoes. Not one of them fast enough to dodge. Not one of them strong enough to block. I put the spear away. Didn't look back. Launched into the sky. Half an hour later, a National Association cleanup crew arrived at the scene, led by a specialist named Han Song, a 9-star Grandmaster. He landed and immediately smelled blood so thick it was almost solid. Then he looked at the ground. No bodies. Just pieces, mixed together, indistinguishable, like someone had put 16 people and one war god into a blender. His team stood there, green-faced, trying not to vomit. Seal the area. Not one word gets out. They spent the next hour with portable DNA scanners, crouching in the dirt, scanning chunks of meat one by one, trying to figure out which piece belonged to which person. Han Song stared at a dark gold bloodstain soaking into the earth. A Stage 2 war god, he whispered. Really dead. His voice had a tremor he couldn't hide. Nobody was going to investigate this. Nobody was going to seek justice. Nobody was going to say a word. Because the last person who crossed Chun Yi was now being sorted into labeled evidence bags by chunk. Meanwhile, I landed at my front door. Quiet night. Stars out. Peaceful. Then I heard it. Wah, wah, 2 baby cries. Loud. Strong. Full of life. My feet stopped. A grin spread across my face. Lung Yu and Shen Rushuang had given birth. Both of them. Tonight. While I was out finger-flicking war gods into oblivion. I walked in. Su Qingge was already holding one baby, looking like the world's happiest woman. Lung Yu was in bed, pale but glowing, holding a baby boy. The little guy already had sharp eyes and was radiating faint martial energy. Newborn and already giving off warrior vibes. That's my son. Shen Rushuang's bed had a baby girl. Porcelain skin. Delicate features. Already beautiful at 1 hour old. And her energy signature was even stronger than the boy's. Then the system went absolutely insane. Ding. Second and third children detected. Son Qin Ting, innate thunder spirit body, S rank. Daughter Qin Shui, innate ice spirit body, S rank. Gene development, 88% current, 399%. Stage 3 War God Peak. New ability, bloodline resonance. Draw power from children's bloodline. New ability, Heaven's Fortune, children's luck boosted, family destiny greatly enhanced. All partners, 20% gene development. From 311% to 399%. 88% from 2 babies. I could feel 3 invisible threads connecting me to my 3 children. Qin Zhan, Qin Ting, Qin Shui. When they grow stronger, I grow stronger. When I grow stronger, they benefit. This is a family power generator. Every baby is basically a nuclear reactor for my cultivation. And I've got more on the way. Sun Wanyu is carrying triplets, plus Ling Aoxue, Han Shuang, Wang Meng, Zhao Qing, Su Qingyao, and others. I am going to have so many children that my gene development will need scientific notation. Do they have names? Lung Yu asked softly, holding the boy. Qin Ting, I said. Thunder, her eyes glistened. Good name. And my daughter? Shen Rushuang demanded immediately. I looked at the beautiful baby girl and smiled. Qin Shui. Snow. Shen Rushuang's face melted into pure happiness. She rocked the baby gently. Little Shui, hear that? Daddy named you. The baby cooed. The room was warm. Golden. Perfect. Su Qingge stood to the side holding Qin Zhan, watching everything with the softest expression, a family of 5. This feels amazing. I smiled but said nothing. Because technically it's about to be a family of a lot more than 5. Outside, the night deepened. And 1,000 miles away, a one-sentence encrypted report landed on the desk of the National Martial Association's highest office. Lei Lai, confirmed dead. By morning, every power player in the nation would know. One of the 3 supreme war gods was gone, and the man who killed him was at home, naming his newborn babies, getting ready for bed, probably thinking about what to have for breakfast. Status update. Stage 3 War God Peak. 3 children. 399% gene development. 2 enemy war gods killed this month. 1 cult leader captured. 1 divine beast scared back to another dimension. Mood. Dad energy. Maximum dad energy. Night fell. The kids were all asleep. I stood over the 3 cribs, Qin Zhan, Qin Ting, Qin Shui, lined up in a row like the world's most overpowered baby assembly line. 3 tiny faces. 3 S-rank bloodlines. 3 nuclear reactors of future cultivation power. Su Qingge stood beside me, whispering, "They look just like you. Obviously. They're mine." She laughed, took my arm, and pulled me away. "Come on. Rest. You've got things to do tomorrow." I looked at those 3 sleeping faces one more time. Tomorrow, morning came. Sunlight. Breakfast table. Normalcy. Su Qingge feeding Qin Zhan. Lung Yu coming downstairs with wet hair, grabbing a steamed bun. Qin Ting screamed half the night. Finally crashed at dawn. Shen Rushuang yawning behind her. Little Shui woke up 3 times. Only sleeps if you hold her. Welcome to fatherhood. Turns out stage 3 War God Peak doesn't make you immune to sleep deprivation. I scanned both of them with my divine sense. Quick read on their cultivation. 9-star peak. Both of you. Not bad. Faster than I expected. Lung Yu bit her bun. Wonder whose tutoring did that. Shen Rushuang went nuclear red and pinched Lung Yu's waist. What are you saying? Lung Yu, ears slightly pink, face completely deadpan. I'm talking about cultivation. What are you thinking? Su Qingge was laughing so hard, she almost woke Qin Zhan. I told them both to rest properly, eat well, and stop being stubborn about postpartum recovery. Shen Rushuang rolled her eyes. You're worse than my mother. Peaceful. Domestic. Perfect. Then the world decided peace was overrated. Because while I was eating breakfast and telling my wives to take their vitamins, something landed on Earth. In the Qinling Mountains Forbidden Zone. At 4 a.m. Space folded. Not magic. Not martial arts. Actual space warp technology. A 40-meter warship materialized from a subspace tier, hull coated in dark red biological metal that looked like living skin, with a black claw insignia on the side showing 5 fingers crushing stars. The engine hum alone made every beast in the mountain range flatten to the ground in terror. Out stepped a figure, nearly 2 meters tall, dark red bioarmor covering everything. 3 purple energy crystals embedded in the shoulder plates. an energy warblade on the hip, a faceplate showing only amber-colored eyes. He scanned the entire planet in 3 seconds. The data readout on his helmet, planet designation, unregistered, unknown system, civilization level, planetary, a primitive population, 10 billion life form, carbon-based humanoid high-energy individuals detected, fewer than 30 confirmed. Ancient Galactic Empire training ground present in planetary core. He sent a transmission to his fleet. Arrived at target planet. Ancient Empire training ground confirmed. Native warriors below 30. Evaluating planetary combat strength. Then he turned north. He detected a Stage 2 warrior signal near the Arctic Circle. For him, not even a warm-up, but good enough as a test sample. He moved at 10 times the speed of sound toward Russia, Murmansk, the Northern War God military base. The base commander? A Stage 2 war god named Davis. 45 years old. 6'7", built like a refrigerator made of other, smaller refrigerators. His life philosophy, biggest fist makes the rules. At 4:30 a.m., base radar went insane. General Davis. Unidentified target approaching at Mach 10. 30 seconds to arrival. Davis rolled out of bed shirtless, cursing, and launched himself into the air. He saw it, a humanoid figure in dark red armor, hovering above his base. What the hell are you? Get down here and identify yourself? Or, he cracked his knuckles. The armored figure, codenamed Black Scythe, just looked at him. Said nothing. Like watching a lab specimen. Davis waited 2 seconds. No response. Fine. Don't say I didn't give you a chance. He launched himself upward. Full power. Ice blue energy coating his fist. A punch that could punch through an aircraft carrier's deck. Black Scythe raised one hand. Open palm. Caught the punch. The ice blue energy exploded against his palm. Fragments scattering everywhere. Black Scythe didn't move. Not 1 millimeter. Davis's face froze. His fist felt like it had hit a mountain made of alien alloy. What? Too weak. Black Scythe's fingers closed. Crunch. Davis's entire right fist and forearm. Crushed. Bone fragments and blood dripping through Black Scythe's fingers like he'd squeezed a juice box. Before the scream finished leaving Davis's mouth, Black Scythe's other hand grabbed his throat. On this planet, you call these low-grade warriors war gods. Davis was hanging in the air, face purple, kicking and clawing with his remaining hand. Black Scythe's fingers tightened. Snap. Neck broken. Head flopping sideways. Body twitching twice. Dead. Stage 2 war god. Russia's national-level deterrent force. Killed in under 10 seconds by a being who treated the fight like checking a box on a clipboard. The body fell from 50 meters up and cratered into the tarmac. The entire base went silent. Every soldier staring upward. Nobody firing. Nobody launching missiles. Because everyone understood, none of it would matter. Black Scythe turned south and flew away. But he left a message. Broadcast across the entire base through his armor's speakers. Tell this planet's strongest warriors. This planet has been requisitioned by the Tianyuan Group's Galactic Ruins Public Maintenance Corporation. I will be waiting above the Qinling Mountains for them to come pay their respects. Now, I didn't know any of this yet. I was at home eating breakfast and arguing with Shinru Shuang about postpartum vitamins. But I'd find out soon enough. Because somewhere in the Qinling Mountains, an alien in power armor was sitting on top of his cloaked warship, waiting for this planet's strongest to come kneel before him. He'd scanned the whole Earth, found fewer than 30 warriors worth noting, classified our entire civilization as planetary-level primitive, killed a Stage 2 war god like swatting a mosquito, and declared ownership of the planet on behalf of some corporation. A corporation, not even a government, not an empire, a company. We were being REPO'd by a galactic middle manager, and his scan said Earth's peak fighters were Stage 2. He hadn't met Stage 3 yet. He hadn't met me yet. 399%. 3 children feeding me bloodline resonance power. Star magnetic scripture at proficient level. A brand new star crystal weapon being forged. Mr. Black Scythe was sitting up there in the Qinling Mountains, confident he was the biggest fish on this rock. He had no idea that while he was crushing a Russian war god's hand like a stress ball, a Chinese war god was at home being scolded by his wife for nagging about vitamins. And that Chinese war god was about to ruin his entire corporate acquisition plan. Welcome to Earth, spaceman. We're not as primitive as your scanner thinks. I wasn't there for any of this. I was at home, eating breakfast, arguing with my wives about vitamins. But within 24 hours, I got the full story from every intelligence source on the planet. And let me tell you, it was bad. After Davis got his neck snapped like a breadstick, the 5 biggest nations on Earth called an emergency video summit. First time in 100 years they'd done this. Last time was when humanity first discovered martial arts. This time it was because an alien had just murdered a stage 2 war god in 3 seconds and declared that he was repossessing our planet on behalf of a corporation. 5 screens, 5 nations, 5 supreme war gods. The American, Thor James. The European, Holy Sword Antonio. The Russian replacement, Aurora Ivan, Davis's successor, already promoted via panic. The Indian, Brahma. And ours, Jing Zonglong. Thor spoke first. Davis was my comrade. He's dead, killed like an insect. Everyone agreed the alien, Black Scythe, was at least stage 3, maybe stage 4. Stage 4. A level nobody on Earth had even theorized about. And this guy was casually sitting on top of his spaceship in the Qinling Mountains waiting for us to come BOW. Thor said something nobody expected from the most arrogant war god on the planet. I'll be straight with you. One-on-one, I have 0 chance of winning. First time in his career he'd ever admitted that. The room went silent. But, he continued, 5 of us together, hitting from 5 angles with 5 different attack styles simultaneously, he's still 1 unit. I don't believe he can handle all 5 at once. One by one, they agreed. Jing Zonglong, Holy Sword, Aurora, Brahma, all in. 5 supreme war gods. Humanity's absolute best. Going all in on one target. Every military intelligence agency on Earth ran the same simulation. Can 5 stage 2 war gods beat 1 alien? Every single one came back with the same answer. Cannot predict. They win anyway. The fight happened over the Qinling Mountains. I got the satellite footage later. 5 figures approached from 5 directions simultaneously. Perfect formation. Half-circle encirclement. Black Scythe stood up from his warship's roof and scanned them. His internal assessment? 5 stage 2 warriors. Slightly better than yesterday's sample. Still ants. 5 stage 2s is the best lineup this planet can offer? Thor didn't answer. He just said one word. Go. All 5 attacked at once. Thor went straight in, full lightning-coated punch to the face. Fastest of the 5. Holy Sword flanked left. Energy blade aimed at the gap between Black Scythe's armor plates at the waist. Aurora stayed 30 meters back, launched an extreme cold field, freezing everything from the ground up. Minus 150 degrees. Brahma hung in the rear, eyes closed. Psychic spike aimed directly at Black Scythe's brain. Jing Zonglong. He waited, watching, studying, looking for the opening. For simultaneous attacks, timed within 0.3 seconds of each other. Front assault, side assassination, ground lockdown, mental disruption. Textbook. Black Scythe caught Thor's full power punch with one hand. Same move as Davis. The collision shockwave blew away clouds for 300 meters. Thor felt like he'd punched an alloy wall 10 times denser than anything on Earth. His arm went numb. He slid back several meters. Black Scythe barely wobbled. At the same instant, Holy Sword's blade found its mark. 2 centimeters into the armor gap. Actually touched flesh. Hit, Holy Sword shouted. For about half a second, humanity had hope. Then Black Scythe's other hand came around in a knife strike that hit Holy Sword in the chest so hard he flew back 100 meters, armor shattering, coughing blood, barely holding onto his weapon. Black Scythe looked down, ice climbing his legs from Aurora's freeze attack. Minus 150 degrees creeping up his armor. He frowned slightly, stomped once. All the ice shattered, but the cold had slowed him by a fraction of a second. And that was when Jing Zonglong struck. He'd been waiting for exactly this moment. Studying Black Scythe's patterns, his attack distances, his weak points. The neck, side armor was thinnest there. Jing Zonglong poured everything into one spear thrust to Black Scythe's neck. Boom. The hit moved Black Scythe several meters sideways. His head tilted from the impact. He stayed in that tilted position for 2 seconds, then slowly turned his head back. A single trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth. That was it. Jing Zonglong's absolute maximum, the full power of Earth's strongest war god, produced 1 trickle of blood. No broken bones. No penetration. No real damage. Black Scythe touched the blood with 1 finger. looked at it. Then he smiled. Not bad. Someone on this planet can actually make me bleed. He looked at Jing Zonglong. As a reward, let me show you what a real gap looks like. He raised his right hand. His armor opened. 5 energy chains shot out simultaneously, faster than any of them could track. Thor, chained around the waist. Holy Sword, chained on his sword arm. Aurora, chained at both legs. Brahma, chain punched through his psychic barrier like paper, wrapped around his throat. Jing Zonglong, fastest reaction, but the 5th chain still caught his ankle. All 5 chains tightened. High voltage current running through each one. Bodies paralyzed. Gene energy suppressed. 5 supreme war gods. Earth's entire top tier, wrapped up like a bundle of firewood and dragged into the warship's prison cell. Slammed onto the metal floor. Door shut. Darkness. Relax, Blackside said from outside. I won't kill you. You 5 are more useful alive. Then, the worst part. He didn't turn off his comms. He hacked into every satellite communication network on Earth. Every phone, every TV, every street screen, every military monitor. One image on every device on the planet simultaneously. Blackside's face. Amber eyes. Dark red armor. Natives of this planet. His voice. Flat. Emotionless. Like reading a grocery list. You just watched your 5 strongest warriors get subdued. The camera shifted to show the prison cell. 5 war gods chained to the walls. Covered in blood. Armor broken. Thor breathing hard. Holy Sword's gear shattered. Aurora's arm hanging at a wrong angle. Brahma unconscious. Jing Zonglong, the only one still conscious. Head up, blood dried and fresh alternating on his chin. Earth's mightiest. All captured. Broadcast to 8 billion people. And where was I during all of this? At home, holding my newborn daughter. Watching my son grab Lung Yu's finger. I didn't know yet, but I was about to find out. And when I did, 399%. Stage 3 peak. Bloodline resonance with 3 S-rank children. Star magnetic scripture. A brand new star crystal weapon being forged. Mr. Blackside scanned 30 warriors on this planet and decided we were all insects. He missed one. The one who was home. On paternity leave. The strongest human on Earth wasn't on his scanner because I was changing diapers. And I was about to show this corporate middle manager from space what happens when you try to repossess a planet that has Chinyi on it. Blackside's broadcast hit every screen on Earth simultaneously. Every phone, every TV, every billboard. 8 billion people watching the same alien face deliver the same message. Your 5 strongest warriors are captured. Your planet now belongs to the Tianyuan Group's Galactic Ruins Public Maintenance Corporation. Annual usage fee, 3,000 billion tons of star crystal stone. You have 5 days, 3,000 billion tons. Earth's entire star crystal reserve wouldn't cover a fraction of that. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a mugging. A cosmic shakedown by a corporate middle manager with a spaceship. The world went into full meltdown. People crying in the streets. Supermarkets getting raided. News anchors going mute on live TV. A cola commercial played right after the broadcast ended, and somehow that was the most disturbing thing of all. Happy jingle, bright red can, world ending. And me? I was at the breakfast table. Su Qingge was nursing Chun Zhan by the window. Lung Yu had Chen Ting in her arms. Shen Rushuang was napping with little Chen Shui on her chest. Morning sunlight. Steamed buns. Tea. My phone buzzed with the news alert. 5 global war gods defeated and captured by alien entity. I read it. Looked at my 3 sleeping babies. Looked at my 3 wives. Sighed. I was hoping to wait until Wan Yu gave birth before dealing with anything. Shen Rushuang sat up carefully. Those 5 war gods all got captured. Do you have a chance? I smiled. I'm a little stronger than them. A little. 399% versus their 200-something. Just a tiny gap of about double their power. Nothing major. Su Qingge walked over, fixed my collar, and whispered, "Come back soon." I looked at all 3 of them. Nodded. "Oh, and if Wan Yu goes into labor, call me. I'll be fast enough." Then I stepped forward and vanished. No sonic boom. No shockwave. No dramatic exit. Just gone. Like I was never there. Lung Yu stared at the empty doorway for 2 seconds, then went back to feeding Chen Ting. He said fast. "So it'll be fast." Ice Queen confidence. Love that woman. Now, the Qinling Mountains. Blackscythe was sitting on top of his warship like a tourist enjoying a scenic overlook. Faceplate retracted. silver-gray hair blowing in the wind, amber eyes watching the clouds below. He was relaxed, confident, running through his standard playbook in his head: show force, make impossible demand, wait for despair, offer mercy, collect gratitude and submission. Done this on dozens of planets. These primitive civilizations were so predictable, his armor's scanning system screamed. High-energy reaction. Source, directly ahead. Power level, stage 3 peak. His pupils contracted to pinpoints. Stage 3 peak? On this planet? Impossible. He'd scanned the entire globe. The strongest 5 were locked in his basement. Maximum was stage 2. Where did a stage 3 come from? His faceplate slammed shut. Energy shields activated. Combat systems engaged. Weapon primed. Too late. I stepped out of empty air right in front of him. Just appeared, like walking through a door that didn't exist. He saw my spear first. Dark gold. The tip glowing with energy that his armor's systems immediately classified as at least 1 full tier above his own output. His mouth opened. Standard protocol. When facing a superior opponent, identify yourself, invoke corporate authority, make them hesitate. I didn't let him finish. I thrust. No warm-up. No power-up sequence. No dramatic speech. No, who are you? Or, how dare you? Or, prepare yourself. Just a spear going from point A to point B. Point B being his chest. His triple-layer energy shield? The first one popped like a soap bubble. The second lasted maybe 1/100th of a second. The third delayed my spear tip by about 1,000th of a second. Then the spear went through the weakest point in his armor, the center chest seam, right where the energy core was. I'd identified it with my divine since the instant I appeared. Didn't even need to look twice. His body shuddered. His amber eyes went huge behind the faceplate. He could feel the spear tip in his heart. He could feel my star magnetic scripture energy tearing apart his gene chains, destroying his cell regeneration, shredding his soul. I twisted the spear. Pumped dark gold energy through his entire body. His armor cracked from the inside. Dark red metal fragments flying everywhere. Flesh underneath, charred black. He froze in midair for 1 second. Then exploded. Body gone. Armor, fragments. Soul, erased. From my appearance to his death, less than 3 seconds. I put my spear away, looked down at his warship, now ownerless, hovering quietly like a dog whose master just vanished. The 5 war gods were still chained up inside. I extended my hand. 1 pulse of invisible force. The entire warship disappeared into my storage. Every satellite watching from orbit caught the whole thing. Every command center on the planet saw it. From their perspective, mysterious figure appears, alien explodes, warship vanishes. Total elapsed time, 3 seconds. The world's reaction? Blue screen of death for every brain on the planet. American Command Center. Who was that? China has another war god at that level. European Command Center. 15 seconds of silence. Then an old general took off his glasses, cleaned them, put them back on, and confirmed the screen hadn't changed. Indian Command Center. Could our master have blocked that strike? Nobody answered. Nobody needed to. Russian Command Center. They'd been debating whether Earth had any hope left. Now they were debating, did that take 3 seconds or 2? Chinese Command Center. Absolute chaos. Because they recognized me, even from just a back shot and a side profile. Every official in the room knew exactly who that was. It's Chen Wei. Desks being slapped. Tears flowing. Old generals discreetly dabbing their eyes. Staff members spinning in circles from excitement. They knew what this meant. 5 war gods saved. Alien threat eliminated. And China, through one man nobody saw coming, had just saved the entire planet. But I didn't care about any of that. I stepped through space and reappeared in my living room. Suchinga looked me over. Done? Done. Lung Yu. Black Scythe? Not even ashes left. I said it the way you'd say, yeah, I took out the trash. Lung Yu said, oh, nodded once, and went back to feeding the baby. Like it was the most natural thing in the world. Shenru Shuang, still holding sleeping Chen Shui. Wan Yu's probably going into labor soon. My phone rang immediately. Suchinga nodded. Go. I've got things here. I vanished again. Sun Wan Yu was in the South City villa, sweating, pale, in pain. But the second she saw me in the doorway, tears spilled and her whole body relaxed. Chinyi, I grabbed her hand. I'm here. Don't be scared. 3 cries. One after another, each louder than the last. Wah, 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 triplets. 2 boys, 1 girl. Mother and babies all healthy. Wanyu smiled through her exhaustion. All yours. I kissed her forehead. Then the system went supernova. 3 new children. 3 new bloodlines. The power surge hit me like a freight train made of lightning. Stage 3 peak? Shattered. Stage 4? Shattered. Stage 5 War God. My eyes opened. The world looked different. I could see energy particles floating in the air. I could hear a pin drop hundreds of kilometers away. I could feel the heartbeat of the planet beneath my feet. My divine sense expanded on its own, not because I pushed it, but because my consciousness had grown too large to stay contained. It swept across Linjiang, across the Qinling Mountains, across every ocean, across every continent, every mountain, every river, every city, every village, every single living creature on this entire planet, all mapped perfectly in my mind. I had become the planet's consciousness itself. Meanwhile, the video of my 3-second alien assassination was going nuclear across every platform on Earth. Mysterious warrior one-shots, alien war god, 5 supreme war gods rescued. Black scythe obliterated, Earth's strongest man revealed, from appearance TO kill, under 3 seconds, comment sections moving faster than bullets. People posting strings of, what the F, so long they crash servers. Someone asking, wait, isn't that the Southern District Commander Chun? But I wasn't reading comments. I was standing in a hospital room, looking at 3 new babies, holding my wife's hand, feeling the pulse of an entire planet in my veins. 6 children now, each one an S-rank bloodline, each one making me stronger, each one connected to me through bonds that transcend normal power. And somewhere in the wreckage of a corporate acquisition plan, the scattered atoms of a galactic middle manager named Black Scythe were floating in the atmosphere, slowly becoming part of Earth's air supply. You came to repossess our planet, buddy. Now you are our planet. Final status report, Stage 5 War God. 6 children. Gene development, off the charts. Divine sense, planetary scale. Enemies remaining, 0. 9 wives. 3 steam buns for breakfast. 1 cola commercial that somehow survived the apocalypse. The alien came to conquer Earth because his scanner said our strongest fighters were primitive Stage 2 warriors. His scanner missed the guy who was home on paternity leave. And that guy? That guy just saved the world between diaper changes and came home in time for dinner. My name is Chunyi, War God, Father, Husband of Many, Commander, National Special Advisor, Planetary Guardian. And I am done for today. Someone heat up the leftovers. Daddy's home. The end.